in the holiday season. It's lit up. You get to be outside. So, Memphis, there's nights during this season where it's not too cold outside. So we're all out there running around. Hopefully, it's not going to be raining like it's starting to do now. But, you get to come out here and enjoy the season. And on the cold nights, we've got heaters set up. We'll have fire pits on the last 3 nights. So after Christmas, when you're done with all that fun, but you still want to do some more stuff with your family and just kind of relax, you can come out. We're having what we're calling Afterglow on the 26th, 27th, and 28th. And that'll be special where you get to come and sit around the fire pits, roast some s'mores, just kind of sit around and talk about all the fun you had throughout the season.
That sounds amazing. So let's talk now about tickets, how people can get those tickets, how much do they cost for members, non-members, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so tickets are on sale now. You go through our website at membg.org, and these are timed entry tickets. So this way you get to decide when you want to come, go ahead and grab those tickets. Those early time slots sell out fast. Those are great for the little kids. Get here before dinner and then go out and have a meal. So those are going to be online, and the tickets are 15 for non-members, 15 for members, 17 for non-members. And if you wait on the day of, the ticket prices do increase. So it's best to go ahead and grab those tickets early. If we have something happening now where we have a rain out, then we'll end up refunding those tickets. You can transfer it to another night.
When does everything begin?
We're going to be opening up the day after Thanksgiving. So if you want to do that Black Friday shopping, get that done, and then come and enjoy the lights and the fun. The big guy will be here on the day after Thanksgiving. Santa's coming down from the North Pole. He'll be here for that night. Then he's also here on Sundays. And then we've got tons of specialty nights throughout the season where we'll even have some of our 901 friends here on the 18th. So you can come and see some of our 901 friends like Grizz and Pouncer, things like that. And then there's other specialty nights that a lot of people are familiar with, our Snow Queens. We have a Let It Glow, Jingle Jammies, where we're going to be reading stories and doing some fun songs with a new musician that's coming and going to be here for us this year.
That sounds awesome. I love it. I love it. Anything else we can mention about Holiday Wonders this year before we let you go, Gina?
Yeah, no, like I said, we just hope everybody goes ahead, grab your tickets now so you can grab that. We've got some other events coming up. Our holiday night that's going to be on the 5th. So it's going to be after Holiday Wonders opens, but that's kind of our 21 and plus night. You'll get to enjoy Holiday Wonders, but it's also got some other special activities and things. So if you want to come as a couple, you can come to that. But yeah, grab those tickets, and we hope to see you here.
All right, Gina Harris and membg.org for all the information, including tickets. Gina, we appreciate your time on the digital desk, and have fun this holiday season. Okay, that was Gina Harris talking about Holiday Wonders, which is still very much in effect at Memphis Botanic Garden. And if you've never been, you have got to see Holiday Wonders there. I mean, they really do an amazing job showcasing the 93 acres into the holiday spirit. And if you need to get in the holiday spirit, you should go check it out. It is spectacular. Let's continue the theme talking about Memphis Botanic Garden with our next guest, Olivia Wall, Director of Marketing and Communications with the Memphis Botanic Garden. She is joining us on the digital desk to talk about the gifts of green. First off, Olivia, good morning to you. Tell me how Holiday Wonders is going so far.
Good morning. Holiday Wonders is great. We kicked off on Friday, and we could not be more happy about everything that's going. The lights are beautiful. Folks are happy. The hot chocolate's delicious. Obviously, the weather's a little chilly, but we encourage everyone to bundle up, put the hats on, put the scarves on, put the kids, bundle them up and with blankets and their strollers and wagons, and come on out and enjoy what is the most beautiful time of year.
No question about it. I certainly agree with you. So tell me about Gifts of Green at the Botanic Garden.
Yeah, another seasonal pop-up we do besides Holiday Wonders of the Garden is our Gifts of Green pop-up. It's an extension of our gifts shop. So we have so many wonderful, exotic, and unique house plants. And you can pick your own pot. You can pick a plant for the perfect gift. Also, wonderful botanical themed ornaments, handcrafted crafts to decorate your home. They make fantastic gifts for your host and hostess with the mostest for sure. Plus, we have all of our wonderful selections we normally have in our gift shop, from MBG branded mugs and shirts to gardening books and gardening supplies, stuff for the kids. Really, you can get a lot of your shopping done here while also supporting the Memphis Botanic Garden, which is a 501c3 nonprofit.
Fantastic. And tell me a little bit about some of the plants. I see some behind you right there. Are they seasonal? Are they, special this time of year, year round? Give me some more info.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am sitting right in the thick of our pop-up area for Gifts of Green. So we have a variety. So we do have those seasonal favorites. We have the poinsettia, we have some evergreens, but we also have a number of tropicals, which we commonly know as houseplants. And so those in Memphis in particular, they thrive outside in the summer because we do have that wonderful humid heat. But year round, bring them inside, fill your space with lush green, which I think we all need a little bit, especially in December and January and February when things turn cold and it gets a little brown and dormant outside.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. My wife loves having the plants inside, especially this time of year. So, tell me a little bit more about how people can check it out. Is there something online where they can see it, or do they just come by and check it out?
Yeah, absolutely. We encourage folks to come and check it out. We're constantly updating it through the season, making sure that we're fully stocked. We are open every single day, 9 to 4:30. But with the exception of Christmas Eve, we close at 1 and we are closed. But you can come on 9 to 4:30 daily. We are also, the pop-up shop and gift shop are also open during our Holiday Wonders hours, which are select evenings from 5 to 8:30. So you can do a twofer there. You can come in, you can enjoy the holiday lights with your family, and then you could do some shopping and really make a night of it.
Fantastic. And just for our viewers out there, we have thousands that watch us here on the digital desk. What is the date night? When is that? Has that already happened? No, that's coming up, right?
Yeah, it's tomorrow. We're super excited about it. Holiday night. It's new for us. It's a 21 plus night. It's going to be a fantastic evening. We will have some indoor stuff, so don't worry. We know it's going to be a little chilly, so you can still take a quick walk around the lights, but you can also come and you can make a holiday ornament from plants. We're going to have a soup bar with crostini. We're going to have all sorts of fun stuff. Plus, you get 3 seasonal cocktails included with each ticket. So you can, obviously check out the lights a little bit, but you can also, cozy on up inside our wonderful spaces inside. We'll also have Santa here. So you can get that checked off your list and let him know what you want under the tree this year. And that's tomorrow
right.
night. Yeah.
Tomorrow night. Okay, appreciate it. Well, listen, Olivia, while we
Yeah.
appreciate your time here on the digital desk, and happy holidays to you. It looks very festive there, and I know Holiday Wonders is going really, really well there. Thanks again.
Oh, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Happy holidays.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. As we all know, those scammers and various scams are out there. And during the holiday season, they really ramp up and they're trying their best to ruin Christmas and the holidays for everybody out there by taking your hard-earned money. Let's bring in someone to talk more about ways to protect yourself when you're shopping online, protect your money, protect your accounts, that sort of thing. I'm joined right now on the Action News 5 digital desk by Dino Dizovi. He is head of security for Cash App, joining us on the digital desk to talk about ways to protect ourselves from all these scams and scammers out there. Dino, good morning. Where should people begin when it comes to avoiding these scams and scammers?
Yeah, thanks for having me. The first thing that people should remember is that if anything seems too good to be true or seems weird offline, it's also too good to be true online. And that's a good way to make sure you don't fall for scams really online anywhere.
So are there new scams, new ways that scammers are trying to bilk money out of people? If you can, tell us some of the new scams to watch out for.
Sure, especially during the holiday season, there's one new scam that we're seeing a lot, and that's the pay up front scam. And what that is that's where someone from a usually unverified social media account is advertising that they have the top thing that's really hard to get this season. But in order to get it, you need to pay them up front and in advance. Now the problem is you send them the money and then later on you never receive the item. So what you need to do is make sure to pay really close attention to any scam alerts that you'll get in a payments app like Cash App, and also to only pay for an item after you've received it.
I appreciate that. Thank you for the heads up there. Let's talk about ways that people can protect their accounts. And I know you have several different ways for that, right?
Yeah, there's a number of things we ask everyone to do to best protect themselves. The first, make sure to enable the PIN or Face ID in the app. That makes sure that if someone has temporary access to your account or your phone, they can't also use them to pay themselves. The second is for an email address that's associated with your account, make sure that the password you've used for that account is a password that you haven't used anywhere else, because scammers can use data breaches to get access to that email account and then use that to take over your financial account. The third is make sure that for the verification codes that your payment apps will send you to log in, that you get to your mobile phone, don't share those with anyone else. Cash App, for example, will never ask you for that code. And finally, if you use like a Cash App debit card, make sure to turn on card lock or turn on real-time notifications so that if someone is using that card, you can block it immediately. And always remember, if something is too good to be true offline, it's also too good to be true online.
Let me ask you this. Where do people really get into trouble or make their biggest mistakes? And tell me if different generations make different mistakes out there.
Sure. Yeah, one thing we are noticing is that Gen Z is 3 times more likely to fall for these scams than other generations, but that's only because they're spending more time online and they're really used to that instant gratification from everything being online. And so scammers know how to take advantage of that. One of the ways they do that is with what's called the cash flip scam. That's where someone says, send me some money and I'll send you double your money right back. But this is just a more modern twist on the Ponzi scheme. And you send the money, you never get anything back. So that's just one way that scammers are taking advantage of kind of the increasingly move to everything being online.
Dino, what else? What else can we do? Maybe some top tips you recommend for people to just protect themselves from fraud and other scams out there?
Yeah, there's a few other scams that we see all year round that everyone should keep their eye out for. One is the fake giveaway, and that's usually where an unverified social media account is offering free money. It's too good to be true. The second is the other app download, where they're telling you to download another app. And the third is really tricky. That's the accidental payment scam. That's where you'll actually receive a payment from someone you don't know, and then they'll also send a request saying, hey, I made a mistake, sent it to the wrong person. Please send me the same amount back. Now, the thing is, that payment was with stolen funds. And so when the legitimate owner reports it, that payment's going to get reversed. And then you'll be out the money that you sent to the scammer.
I'm sure you see all kinds of crazy stuff with Cash App, and being head of security there. Anything else you want to mention before we let you go? Because you're giving valuable information each and every time you answer.
Thanks. Yeah, there's a few other things. One is make sure to look at the email address and phone numbers that are associated with your payment accounts and remove any ones that you aren't using anymore. Sometimes those can be reassigned and that can give other people access to your account. There's other things that you can also do. And for more information on these, go to cash.app/scams.
Dino, dropping great and useful nuggets of knowledge on the digital desk. We appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and happy holidays to you.
Same to you.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Every day, more than 1,000 children receive a cancer diagnosis. As you can imagine, that is a life-changing moment for so many families. And studies show 60% of families lose significant household income and are hit with financial hardship as a result of that cancer diagnosis. But right now, there is a group that is created scholarships for families affected by cancer. That group is Northwest Mutual. In fact, they have a Northwest Mutual Childhood Cancer Scholarship Program. I am joined right now by Steve Radke. He's part of Northwest Mutual's Childhood Cancer Scholarship Program. It's been around for several years. Steve, good morning to you. Let's first talk about how it was formed and some of the reasons why. Good morning.
Sure. Good morning, Andrew. Thanks for having me. As you mentioned in the introduction, every day over 1,000 children around the world are diagnosed with cancer. For over a decade, Northwestern Mutual has been trying to end that. We and our financial advisors around the country, we help fund research for better treatments and cures so that someday no child will get a cancer diagnosis. But until then, we're trying to support children and their families affected by this disease. We try to create what we call golden moments, little moments of brightness in what can otherwise really be a daunting journey. And these golden moments can be anything from sending a kid to a day camp to giving them a bedroom makeover to what we want to talk about today, these college scholarships.
Yeah, that hits home for us here in Memphis. Of course, we are home to St. Jude Children's Research Hospital that does amazing work for so many kids that are diagnosed with cancer. And so tell me a little bit more about the scholarship program. Very curious.
Yeah, we started this program back in 2017 because we realized, for all families, the cost of college is a major expense. And as you alluded to, we also know that a cancer diagnosis, in addition to the other stresses that it causes on a family, can also cause significant financial strain. And we want to help that at Northwestern Mutual. So today we're really excited that we're announcing a new round of funding, $500,000 of scholarships for survivors of childhood cancer. And because we know these diagnoses impact the entire family, we also open the scholarship program up to siblings of childhood cancer survivors. Since we started this program,
really cool.
we've helped.
I love that idea. I was just going to interject for a minute, Steve. I think that's fantastic. So you have not only the children affected by cancer directly, but also their siblings are eligible for scholarships too. So tell me more about how to apply, the whole process, and how much scholarships are.
Sure. We're going to be providing scholarships for 50 students this year, scholarships of up to $10,000. And to apply, it's very easy. You can go to the Northwestern Mutual Foundation's website, nmfoundation.com, and there's all sorts of additional information about the scholarships and how to apply, and actually a link to an application.
Okay, so we're talking about a total of $500,000 in scholarship money. Is that right?
Exactly. Hey, and if I could just add one other interesting thing that we've found since we've started this program, a lot of the students who go through this actually choose to go into medical fields. And as we've gotten to know them, they said that they've been so inspired by their doctors, nurses, researchers that they've encountered. They're trying to follow in their footsteps. Now, we never intended that. We're kind of surprised, but we're really inspired, and we're glad that we're having that kind of impact through this program.
Fantastic. Yeah, we see that all the time with St. Jude. Some of the patients there turn out to work eventually at St. Jude to help other kids going through what they went through. Steve Radke, really appreciate you coming on the digital desk. Thanks so much for telling us about the scholarship program, Northwestern Mutual's scholarship program, and happy holidays. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We are so in the midst of the holiday season, and with it comes a lot of decorations, a lot of festivities. You got to be safe out there. A lot of times we're so busy, safety is the last thing we are worried about. Let's bring in someone to help us be safe this holiday season. I'm joined right now by Patrick Brockway. He is with Regional One Health. He's burn manager there. Patrick, good morning to you. Let's talk about some of the mistakes. Some of the most common mistakes that you see this time of year when it comes to safety this holiday season. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Andrew. Thank you so much for having me today. This is just and with the holiday season, and of course, we see a lot of burn injuries this time of year. Probably one of the big things I want to talk about is just Christmas tree safety. People don't really think about it, but when you purchase a live tree, you want to make sure that you remove that bottom 2 inches off of the tree. That way, when it goes into the stand, it has a little bit better water absorption so it doesn't dry out. So a dry tree can turn into a fire hazard. So after your tree is up, you want to make sure that you're watering that live tree as well. Also, too, you want to make sure that your tree is about 3 feet away from flammable sources. You want to make sure that it's not close to any type of fireplaces or radiators or anything like that. Now, for our people who like to use artificial trees, you want to make sure that your tree is actually labeled fire resistant when you use it. That brings us to Christmas lights as well. You have 2 types of Christmas lights that everybody likes to use. They're the indoor lights and the outdoor lights. As they say, you want to use indoor lights on the indoors and outdoor lights on the outside. The reason why is your outdoor lights are actually designed to stay out in the cold, and they actually generate a little bit more heat than your inside lights. This can become a fire hazard if you use outdoor lights in an inside area. Also, too, when you take a look at your lights, you want to make sure that they're not cracked, there's no broken sockets, there's no frayed wires. If they have any of those, you want to make sure you want to get rid of them. Also, too, when you go to string all these lights together, you want to follow the manufacturer's instructions and make sure that the number of light sets that you can chain together is safe. So take a look at the directions on the light strings and make sure that you're stringing the appropriate number of lights together. This brings us to the Christmas decorations too. So just be aware that your small decorations that you use on the tree and around the house can be choking hazards to pets and small children. So you want to make sure that you either keep those decorations that are real small up high or don't use them at all.
Okay, all right. You said a lot there, Patrick. And I would assume that when it comes to fires and burns and that sort of thing, the main culprits are often the live Christmas tree, the holiday decorations, lights, that sort of thing, candles. Is that what you would say is the number one thing coming in to the burn center, is this idea of the holiday decorations, primarily the lights, the tree, candles? Are those the main culprits?
Yes, sir. Those are probably some of the biggest things that we see this time of year. So I will talk a little bit about candle safety. Just be aware that whenever you use a candle, it's an open source of flame. So you want to make sure that you keep them out of reach of children. And also, too, the other big thing with a candle is you never want to leave a candle unattended. So also, too, you want to make sure that whatever you use to light your candles, such as your matches or your lighter, are up out of reach of children as well. That brings us into the next part. Everybody likes to turn on their furnace or have a fire in the fireplace when it gets cold as the season changes. Um, so before you use your furnace or your fireplace, you want to make sure that you have it annually inspected every year. This is to make sure that nothing is blocked. There's nothing wrong with the flue. Uh, Also, too, just be aware that if you do have a fire in your fireplace, that is an open source of flame and it can cause a fire. You want to make sure that all of your equipment is up to regulations and up to snuff whenever you do actually have a fire in it. Improperly cleaned chimneys have been historically a major source of fire in this area. So.
Tell me about some of the tips you give when people are shopping for toys for children. You want people to consider a few things.
Oh, sure. So there's a couple of things to use when it comes to shopping for children. You want to make sure a good website to use or a good source of information is the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. Their website actually has a lot of good specific tips. Just be aware that toys are age defined for safety, not for ability. So when you choose a toy, you want to make sure that it's for that child's age range. You want to choose toys for children less than 3 years under age that don't have the choking hazards. Also, for children that are more than 10 years of age, you want to make sure you're not getting a toy that needs to be plugged into an electrical outlet. Also, too, you want to make sure that you use caution when you purchase toys that have batteries and or magnets, because these things come out and children can swallow them and they can cause all kinds of serious issues. Also, too, you want to make sure that you are giving your child the appropriate safety equipment whenever you buy a toy as well. So, bicycles, you want to make sure that you have a bike helmet. Same thing with a skateboard. You want to make sure that you have a helmet and the pads. So just make sure that you're getting the appropriate safety equipment with the toy whenever you purchase them as well.
What should people consider if they are decorating their home with holiday plants?
So just be aware, holiday plants, the live ones, some of them are poisonous. So you want to make sure that you keep those out of reach of children and pets, especially like your mistletoe and your holly berries. Those things can be especially poisonous. I always tell people it's better to go with the plastic. That way you don't have somebody getting into something that they shouldn't be.
And when it comes to that road trip that many families will be taking this holiday season, there's always some precautions there, right?
Oh, yes. So whenever you're traveling during the holiday season, one, you want to make sure that if you're going to be the driver, that you get an appropriate amount of rest before you start driving. You don't want to get behind the wheel while you're drowsy. Also, too, because it is the cold season, you want to make sure that you have an emergency packet in there and also bring a blanket. So If it just comes into the point where you need to park and sleep and turn the vehicle off, you want to make sure that you have a blanket and can stay warm in that area. Also, too, one of the things that I always tell people is you want to make sure that everybody that is in your vehicle has an appropriate seatbelt and that it is appropriately fastened every time that you ride in the vehicle. Also, too, it's a holiday season. It's holiday parties. Everybody likes to go and enjoy the adult beverages. If you do, make sure that you have a designated sober driver that can get you back and forth where you need to go.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. And, when it comes to space heaters, we all know that space heaters need space. Anything else you want to mention to our folks?
Sure. So space heaters are just one of those things that is a great thing to have inside during the cold season. Just be aware that there's a few precautions with them. You want to use them 3 feet away from flammable items. So keep them away from curtains, towels, that type of thing. Also, too, whenever you do use a space heater, you want to make sure that it is plugged into a wall outlet. You don't want to plug it into an extension cord. The reason why, if you plug it into an extension cord, the cord can actually become overloaded and become a fire hazard as well. Also, too, just be aware that other than the electrical heaters, you don't want to use a fuel-based heater inside your home. The reason why is it can cause carbon monoxide poisoning as the fuel is burned to keep things warm.
Patrick Brockway with Regional One Health. We really appreciate you coming on the Action News 5 digital desk. Thanks so much for valuable information this holiday season. We appreciate it. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. There's some new data that reveals dangerous driving behaviors are on the rise. In fact, 78% of people believe inattentive driving is a bigger issue today than in previous years, and nearly half of drivers think the roads are less safe now than they were just a year ago. Let's bring in a couple of people to talk about this issue and solutions to these dangerous driving behaviors. I'm joined right now by Ryan McMahon, Senior Vice President of Cambridge Mobile Telematics, and Jessica Kearney, Vice President Public Policy with the Travelers Institute. Good morning to you both. Let's first talk about the results from this new study out here that talks about the risk index and distracted driving behaviors on the rise. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. Thank you so much for having us on. I mean, you said it. Holiday season is upon us, and so is holiday travel. So this is a really important moment right now this week to talk about roadway safety. We recently released the Traveler's Risk Index on distracted driving, and we found that nearly 60% of people admit to actively reading their texts or emails while they're driving. And wait for this one, about a quarter, give or take, say they're actively updating their social media accounts or they're taking photos or videos while they're driving. So whether you identify with any of those behaviors that I just mentioned or not, the reality is that when you're out on the road, people are doing these things all around your vehicle. So we're really encouraging people this holiday season to stay alert, be aware of your surroundings, and have this conversation with your friends and family about the risks of distracted driving.
Yeah, I hate when I see a glowing, for instance, if we're traveling at night and there's a glowing in a car and you see someone that's on their phone while they should be driving instead of being on their phone. It's so dangerous. And, I'm just trying to think, like, what else could we do other than, honk the horn a few times? That's probably not the best solution. What kind of solutions are out there for all of us that just want safer roadways?
Yeah, so at the Travelers Institute, we've hosted nearly 100 events, public education events on distracted driving. And here are a few of my top takeaways. First, program that navigation, set up that podcast before you leave your driveway, set that moment to be really intentional before you get underway. Second, speak up. We all have to start bringing about a change in attitudes about distractions. So if you see someone driving distracted, say something. And third and last, and I think this is really actionable, all of our smartphones today are equipped with technology that you need to block incoming notifications, all those little pings and dings while you're driving. On the iPhone, it's called driving focus. And on Androids, it's through Google Assistant and it's called driving mode. Takes 30 seconds, set it up today. It couldn't be easier.
Thank you, Jessica. I appreciate that. Ryan, I want to talk to you for just a brief moment. Tell me about Cambridge Mobile Telematics and perhaps a solution to all this.
Yeah, a couple of quick things. Number one, telematics has helped us identify what causes crashes. And from a behavior standpoint, we know that distracted driving contributes to about a third of the crashes that we measure. And those crashes happen at higher speeds. And the insurance industry has started to provide incentives to drivers to reduce those behaviors. They offer hundreds, if not thousands of dollars back off of in incentives from premium, help control costs and reduce this behavior that is causing, unfortunately, our roads to become less safe.
Gotcha, gotcha. Okay, and I guess there's like specific advice for younger drivers, maybe Gen Zs that are out there on the roads and trying to minimize their issues or their distractions, right?
Yeah, oh, go ahead, Brian.
I was going to say, I think ultimately one of the most important things for Gen Z drivers is to help to get that feedback and those incentives to help continue that positive reinforcement behavior. And that's really what we're seeing with the telematics technology. Apps like IntelliDrive from Travelers Insurance is one of those. And over 45 million people have already opted into programs like this, and a great solution for Gen Z drivers as well.
Jessica, you wanted to say something?
Oh, I was going to say our research also found that Gen Z drivers said they're more likely than other generations to experience intense emotions or stress while driving behind the wheel. And stressed drivers are more likely to be distracted, more likely to drive at higher speeds, and even less likely to stop at crosswalks. So especially during this holiday season, we all have to take that moment to make sure we're ready to get behind the wheel.
So Jessica and Ryan, I open this up to both of you. How do you want people to leave this interview? I mean, are there some action solutions out there? Maybe an action list. The next time we're hitting the highway, there's going to be millions of Americans hitting the highway this Thanksgiving Day weekend. What's your advice to them? Jessica, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I think take that moment to be intentional. And if you're doing air travel this week and you're getting in a rental car, I would say one quick tip: take a few minutes to become acclimated with the technology and the car before you get out on the road.
Ryan?
And my tip would be, if you have the opportunity to put money back in your pocket, if you have a couple of minutes while you're sitting on the couch this week, maybe in between football games, call up your insurance provider or open up your smartphone app and download your insurance company's telematics product. Travelers and Trolley Drive, again, is one of those that provides that feedback to drivers that help them. And it's really about developing safe habits. And the best way to develop safe habits is to get paid while doing it at the same time.
Okay, Ryan, Jessica, we appreciate this conversation. It's so important, especially this time of year, to have these kinds of conversations, not only stressing the problems and the dangers, but also the solutions to all of it. We appreciate it. Thank you. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Women's health, that is such a broad and important topic. And it's something that we need to continue to update ourselves for our loved ones out there, for family members out there, not just the physical health, but mental aspects as well. I'm joined right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Dr. Tosha Jackson. She is Chief Nursing Officer at Methodist South Hospital. Dr. Jackson, welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Do me a favor and tilt down your camera just a bit. We have a lot of headroom there, and we want to make sure that when we say we have your name, that we have enough room to see you. If you could tilt it down, that'd be great. I want to ask you here, first off, tell me where women and people who love women, when it comes to their health, where are the biggest mistakes made? I'm not hearing you.
All right. Is that better?
Perfect.
Thank you. Good morning, and thank you for having us here this morning. Women's health is a really big topic any time of year. You do hear a lot of focus around breast cancer awareness month, around the heart health month, but we want to at Methodist Healthcare have a women head to toe heart focus throughout the entire year. So this is why today we're focusing on a lunch and learn and a kitchen table talk to just discuss women's health from head to toe.
Okay, so give us, I would say, what, top 3 strategies when it comes to comprehensive women's health?
So comprehensive health, I will say for those that are more seasoned, it would be focusing around menopause, GYN health, just overall female health things such as hormone therapy and things like that. Secondly, cardiovascular history, especially if it runs in the family, if it's hereditary, we want to ensure that cardiovascular health is also one of the great things we talk about in women's health. And then thirdly, just overall, we are in cold, flu, COVID season. So we also want to make sure healthy lungs and just make sure we're getting in exercise, water, hydration. Although it's the winter months, it is still very important to make sure we hydrate.
No question about it. Staying active, watching your heart, your lungs. No question, physical activity is great. What about the mental aspects to reduce the stress and anxiety that so much of us feel each and every day?
So around the holidays, mental health stress reduction techniques are very important, especially if someone's lost a loved one, just the memories associated with holidays. And many of us focus around happy times, family times, and a lot of times women are now the head of the household, or they've been the one that's kind of keeping the house together. And that can be a very stressful time around the holidays to perform or actually to miss that loved one that's no longer there. So mental health is also extremely important as we look at women's health from head to toe, because a lot of times we forget about the mental health piece.
Yeah, I know mental health is huge, and it's become a big talker, especially out of the pandemic. A lot more emphasis on mental health.
Yes.
What do you tell perhaps patients that come to Methodist South about diet? You know, we've talked about exercise, we've talked about mental health. What about diet?
Diet, and we a lot of times put diet and exercise together. Diet is extremely important, especially if you have a history of diabetes or cardiovascular disease. What you eat is extremely important. Here at Methodist, and as particularly at Methodist South, we do host a farmers market where we bring in fresh fruits and vegetables from farmers within the area so that they can market and sell their produce to actually promote healthy heart, healthy living, um, set insulin levels, if you're diabetic, to ensure that you're getting all of that nutrient that you need to maintain. You can still live a very healthy lifestyle if you have a history of diabetes, heart disease, high blood pressure, things like that, all around your diet. But hydration is also very important when it comes to diet. A lot of times people think of what you're eating for diet, but also what you're drinking. As we come up on the holidays, we know sometimes alcohol consumption could be more than what we typically have, especially at Thanksgiving and Christmas dinner. But we also want to make sure we consume alcohol in moderation, but make sure we're hydrating with water. Sometimes caffeinated drinks can also affect your diet. So water is the utmost important for your overall women's health.
All right, so we've talked about mental health, we've talked about physical health, we've talked about diet and exercise. What else can we talk about before we let you go?
I think we've covered it from head to toe. I will tell you, a lot of us are very into getting our hair done, our nails done, our toes done, and that's a extra self-esteem booster for a lot of us. So I do want to encourage women to continue to get those things done, just so we have a positive self-esteem as we check into our heart health. I also remind women to do things around your birthday. You know, have all of your checkups, have your breast exam, your GYN exam. Do a lot of that around your birthday. And that way, annually, you're doing a self checkup once a year around that important time of your life when you're, getting another trip around the sun. You're also giving yourself another trip into healthy lifestyles.
All right, Dr. Tosha Jackson, Methodist South Hospital's Chief Nursing Officer. We appreciate your time on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Thanks so very much and happy holidays.
Happy holidays and thank you for
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Tuesday morning, which is still featuring a lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle. That's the big issue for you this morning. Some patches of fog as well. Kind of a drab, dreary day here across the Mid-South, but overall, again, not the worst thing in the world. All right, let's be honest with ourselves here. It could be worse. It could be absolutely stormy. We've had severe weather, all sorts of stuff, but just the clouds here this morning across much of the areas. A cold front comes sweeping through the area. Temperatures hovering in the 50s as we go through the course of the day, dropping off into the 40s. We'll kind of go back and forth between clouds and stars here tonight as our main cold front makes progress across the area late tonight, early tomorrow morning, of course, ushering in another blast of chilly air. So the frontal boundary here this morning, again, we've had a warm front that has lifted northward. It actually helped to facilitate some of this moisture lingering overhead, and for some folks, a little bit of cooler air, warmer air, getting to the low 60s in places like Oxford as well as Corinth early this morning. That will not be the case through the remainder of the day. The colder air is going to be working its way southward as we go through the course of the day. So the temperatures in those locations that were able to make their way to the 60s will drop into the 50s as we go through the course of the day. See the colder air blowing in here. On the western side of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe a little clearing before the afternoon is all said and done. From Memphis's perspective, you might be able to look westward at sunset, see a little bit of clearing. The next batch of clouds will come swinging through the area overnight tonight, clears it out, and then here's the cold air in place as we head towards your Wednesday. And it will be not as cold as what we saw late last week, but still cold nonetheless. You see the coldest of the air staying well to the north of us as high pressure begins to build in our direction, and that will take us into your Thursday. Of course, the colder air coming direct out of Canada, moving in our direction, but this will not be a long-term situation. This is kind of a fleeting cold snap that will push through the area as warmer air begins to build out to the west and starts building in our direction as we head towards the end of the week, and that will also facilitate some changes in the pattern as well. So some mist, some drizzle here today. Temperatures in the 50s, kind of hovering air throughout the day. day. Cool northerly breeze flowing through here. You'll need the jackets all day long. Tomorrow morning we'll start off around freezing up to about the upper 40s with sunshine. Mostly sunny skies to start off the day on Thursday, but clouds will start to sneak in here late in the day. We'll call it a high near 50 after morning start in the 20s early in the day. Now overall not looking terribly bad. Again, we're dry as we head towards Wednesday, Thursday, most of Friday as well, but the rain chances will begin to increase Friday night into Saturday. I think Saturday may trend towards a washout as we get moisture coming in, surging along with that milder air coming in from the west. So with the milder air turning in to moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico and an approaching system will help to facilitate at least a chance for some rain to move into the Mid-South as we head towards your Saturday night into your Sunday. But I think by Sunday we should be in a drier scenario that will play out for us as we get ready for some unsettled patterns that will take us into the majority of the forecast here in the next couple of days. Here's the 7-day forecast, and again we'll go for high temperatures in the 50s here today, and just kind of hovering there throughout the course of the day. 48 the high as we head towards your Wednesday, down to the 20s early on Thursday morning, and then trying to rebound back up through the 50s. There will be some better rain chances coming along with the opportunities for that next system coming down the pipeline Friday night into Saturday. And again, Saturday looks to be pretty wet. We should dry it out by Sunday. Monday we'll add in another chance for rain and beyond this in the extended 10-day forecast. As you can see here on the screen, again, we'll probably also have some opportunities for cooler air, milder air to stick around in the extended range. Temperatures in the 50s for this time of the year is about where we should be. And I think that as we go throughout much of mid next week, we'll also have a couple of opportunities for showers to sneak back in here. Tuesday may be dry, but I think Wednesday and Thursday there will be some lingering opportunities for showers. And beyond Thursday of next week, the cooler air mass may make a presence known here. Of course, you can stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere with the 10-day forecast on actionnews5.com, the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app as well. You can also use the app to track any showers right there in the palm of your hand and the hourly forecast for your backyard.
We are talking with someone within the Methodist Transplant Institute who donated one of her kidneys to a stranger about 7 years ago. I'm joined now by Joanne Morris. She is someone who did this within the transplant unit. She's a dietitian at Methodist. Joanne, good morning. I appreciate you joining us on the digital desk. Tell me about your journey. How did we get to this point?
Well, good morning. Thank you for having me and letting me share a little bit about my story in organ donation. So I've been a dietitian at Methodist here for 11 years, and it was never on my bucket list or something to do to give away a kidney to a stranger, but working with patients day in and day out in our transplant clinic, I just felt like I was better educated and aware about the critical need of needing more living donors, and then also seeing the joy of people receiving their kidneys. And I just felt called by God, this is something that I needed to do.
That is amazing, and it's an incredible selfless act. I appreciate you sharing your story with us. And so was it just working day in and day out at the Transplant Institute where you just felt called to give your kidney to a stranger?
Yes, so I mean, definitely pulls on the heartstrings to see people suffering because kidney disease is something that affects your quality of life day in and day out. And not all conditions and diseases have treatments like kidney disease does. I mean, there is kidney transplant, so that definitely improves somebody's quality of life. I was very fortunate that I did not have a direct family member or friend who needed my kidney, but I have learned kidneys do not care where they go, and I didn't care either. And it was just important to me that somebody improve their life and get off of dialysis.
Wow. Okay. So tell us about the recovery process, because I think a lot of people would be very intimidated with the idea of being healthy and then deciding to give a kidney to someone who they don't know, and that whole process. What's the recovery, and what was the recovery like for you?
Right. So my surgery and recovery went very much textbook like the team told me it would. They told me it would take 4 to 6 weeks to completely recover, and it did. I was in the hospital 3 days, went home to my family who helped take care of me. And other than, of course, the incisional pain, I had no other major complications, and that was pretty much gone by 2 weeks. So other than just taking a short pause on my life for about 6 weeks, it didn't negatively impact my life at all.
That's incredible, Joan. Tell me a little bit more about how and if your quality of life has changed.
Right. So before donating, I was working active, a mother, and I was able to continue doing those things. I came back to work here at the transplant clinic 5 weeks after my donation, and then we wanted to extend our family, which we were able to do. And I gave birth to a little beautiful girl about a year after I donated. I love to hike the national parks, and I go hiking and working and enjoy all my same passions. So it did not have any negative impacts on my quality of life whatsoever.
And there are a lot of people that are on the list right now looking for a kidney donor, right? Can you talk a little bit about that and how people are on dialysis and they need a donor right away?
Right. So living donation is the best option. It gives you so many more years of quality of life, 15 to 25 years from a living donor kidney, which is amazing to think that you can give somebody an extra 25 years of those big milestones and small moments with their families. Dialysis, of course, is a great way to maintain your life till a transplant, but it's not optimal quality of life. And so that's where living donors and deceased donors can come in to kind of bridge the gap.
What do you wish everyone knew about organ donation? Maybe some misconceptions out there.
Right. So some misconceptions is you don't have to know you're a recipient. Kidneys do not care where they go. Number two, you don't have to be in perfect health. I've definitely, working with the transplant team for the last 11 years, we take donor safety as a top priority. And I fully trusted them with my own donation evaluation that they would have never pushed me through if I wasn't a great candidate. So you don't have to be in perfect health. Don't rule yourself out. You also don't have to be a remarkable or completely inspirational person. You can just be a regular person like me to do this. And it's been one of the most joyful things I've ever done. And I don't ever have any regrets with my donation.
You said you're a mother, and how many kids do you have, if you don't mind me asking? And you mentioned that you had a kid after you gave your kidney, right?
I did. So when I donated, I had a 2-year-old beautiful boy who is going to be 10 this summer. And then it was definitely important to me and my husband that we wanted to still extend our family after I donated. So for donor safety, most transplant teams ask mothers consider waiting 6 months to a year after donating to have another child. And then I gave birth to my beautiful little girl about a year after I donated.
Wow. Okay. Is there a place where someone can go online and just kind of learn more about, not just your story, just the whole process?
Correct. So you, of course, can learn at our Methodist Hospital University website. And then you can go to thebigaskbiggive.com or the National Kidney Foundation. There's so many good quality resources that patients can learn about living and deceased donation. So especially if you're feeling called to do that, educate yourself. Don't rule yourself out. You can fill out a questionnaire online, and then a nurse coordinator will call you to ask you more questions.
Anything else you want to say, Joan? You are quite the inspiration this morning.
Well, this wasn't my life plan to do this. I'm very grateful I was able to do it. You know, there's such a high need of people to be living donors and deceased donors, and it's not as overwhelming as sometimes the misconception is. It's had no negative impacts on my life, and it's a beautiful thing just to give to really help somebody. So, especially if you enjoy giving, it's a beautiful, valuable thing to do to help your community.
Joan Morris, we appreciate you, dietitian at the Methodist Transplant Institute, also donated your kidney to a total stranger there. I appreciate you telling us this story, and thank you for really kind of shedding a light on not just your story, but the whole process of donating a kidney, being perfectly healthy before and after. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Fibroids are extremely common in women. According to the U.S. National Institutes of Health, 20 to 25% of women in reproductive age have fibroids. And by the age of 50, 80% of African American women, 70% of white women have fibroids. Let's talk about this issue right now with Dr. John Surge. He is the chief of OBGYN at Regional One Health. He is here to explain exactly what fibroids are and when women should be concerned. First off, John, am I saying your name right? Is it Surge?
Shergi, like Fergie.
Gotcha. Thank you for correcting me. John Shergi. Appreciate it. So what is fibroids? Good morning.
Well, the uterus is supposed to be the size of your fist, and it's composed mostly of smooth muscle, which is why you have contractions during labor. And smooth muscle means you can't actively flex it like your bicep muscle. And fibroids are smooth muscle tumors that are embedded in the uterine wall. And these really look like either golf balls or baseballs or softballs. They can be very large, the size of a melon, or they can be very small, the size of a grain of rice. They vary a lot in size and consistency.
Got it. And who is most at risk of getting fibroids? And what happens to those women that do get them?
People that have a African American ancestry, as you mentioned, are much more likely to develop fibroids. We don't know why. There's no real understanding as to why some people get fibroids and others don't, but they can get to an enormous size. So if the average uterine size is 80 grams, fibroids can take up most of the abdomen at times, and you can have a uterus that's 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 grams. And at some point, from a size point of view, they can cause a lot of pelvic pain. And because they increase the size of the uterine cavity, they can cause a lot more monthly bleeding than is normal.
So what are some ways to treat these fibroids? Because they sound awful.
They can be a problem. And when a patient has fibroids that's noted on an ultrasound or exam, the first question is usually, do they bother you? And if the patient says no, that I really don't even know that they're there, you don't have to do anything about them. But at some point, they can cause enough back pain that people are seeing a chiropractor, or they can have bladder dysfunction, and or very heavy periods that they have to come in the hospital for a transfusion. And at some point along the way, they may want to have something done. So there are some herbal remedies that you can try. Actually, acupuncture has been noted to be helpful, but a lot of times that's only marginal improvements. There are some medications. Orlissa is something that is FDA approved to reduce the amount of bleeding and pelvic pain. There is a shot called Lupron that can also do the same thing, although these tend to cause menopausal type symptoms because hormones cause the fibroids to grow. And then moving on to more procedural interventions, there are something called uterine fibroid embolization, where you block off the blood supply through a needle stick. You can have a myomectomy, which is removal of the fibroids, or ultimately, when patients have completed their childbearing, a lot of them pursue hysterectomy.
What do you want the main takeaway for women when it comes to fibroids and what you've explained, some of the causes, some of the remedies, that sort of thing?
Listen to your body, I think, is always a good message, in that a woman usually knows what her normal pattern is for the month. And when things get excessive, she's having excessive bleeding, you need to worry about an endometrial cancer or some other diagnoses. Fibroids in and of themselves are not life-threatening, but you should listen to your body and go see the doctor if you feel like something's out of the ordinary.
Is there a place where people can do more research online that you trust?
There's a lot of information out there. There's Facebook clubs. There are, if you Google fibroids, you'll see pictures of what they look like. There's some support groups out there. There's pretty good information that you can find on the internet, but there's a lot of myths to be dispelled as well.
All right, Dr. John Sergey, we appreciate your time. Thanks for spelling it out for us about fibroids and some of the remedies, some of the treatments, and also some of the reasons why they happen. We appreciate your time. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. The holidays are here, and this year shoppers are starting to shop for those gifts earlier than ever. Let's talk about some of the hot things. We got lifestyle expert Chassie Post here to hook us up with some of those trending gifts out there. And I know that one of them, Chassie, is travel, right? Good morning.
Yes, good morning, and thanks so much for having me. At 1-800-Flowers Family of Brands, we love helping you express and connect and celebrate your loved ones because giving is the gift. So I brought along a few of my favorites, and travel gifts are really trending, like you said, this year. And, you know, so many of us are about to hit the road. I'm going across the country for a big old family holiday. So any gift that can make travel a little bit easier, maybe a little bit more stylish, is at the top of my list. So I have been obsessed with Personalization Mall and Things Remembered's new exclusive collection with fan favorite brand Vera Bradley. I mean, this iconic brand is so popular, but it's even a TikTok star now with over 100 million views. And this collection, they're fashionable, they're functional, they can be custom embroidered with a name or monogram or initial, and they also have luxe leather pieces with, you know, little engraved zipper charms. So this is a great gift that's also useful all year long.
We were talking earlier about how to make sure we don't overindulge on all that eating, but I understand food is a big gift this time of year. Tell me more.
It sure is. I mean, I love giving gifts that, gets everybody together and celebrating, and food usually does the trick. So one of my favorite gourmet brands is Harry and David. They have all sorts of delicious deliveries from, Rudolph-inspired sweets trays to, cookie decorating kits. These are actually from Cheryl's Cookies, and you can serve up those cookies, to Santa on a personalized tray.
What about those gifts to help deck the halls there, Chassie?
Yes, I have to say, personalized gifts are one of my absolute favorites. From, personalized ornaments that just are beautiful keepsakes starting at under $10 from Personalization Mall to, personalized wrapping paper. How wonderful is that? To even custom little stockings, whether you're a Chiefs fan, whatever your favorite team is, or you need a stocking for your favorite little furry friend. I love personalized gifts.
I love personalized gifts too. Anything else you want to share with us before we let you go?
Yes, so I also love a tradition, right? I mean, especially a delicious one. So a holiday tradition that is one of my favorites are Harry and David's Royal Riviera pears. Families have been sending them for 90 years. So they're so nostalgic. Also, I mean, charcuterie. Is it even a party without charcuterie? I don't think so. So they also have a really fabulous spread that comes with its own slate board with the personalized with your name on it. And lastly, hostess gifts. I mean, I love a gift that makes my life easier if I'm hosting. So a beautiful centerpiece from Magnificent Roses. This is made out of preserved roses that lasts over a year. So that makes a gorgeous centerpiece. And this jolly little Santa cake. Oh, I love it so much. It's made out of flowers, and it's actually made by a talented local florist right there in your community. So it's a great way to support a local business.
I love it. Okay. Is there a place online we can go for more information on this?
Yes, head on over to 1-800-Flowers.com for everything we talked about. And happy holidays. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, Chassie, you are definitely decked out with the holidays. I love the backdrop. I love everything you got there. And thanks so very much for sharing it.
Oh, thank you so much.
All right. Another live look from our Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Tuesday morning, which is still featuring a lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle. That's the big issue for you this morning. Some patches of fog as well. Kind of a drab, dreary day here across the Mid-South, but overall, again, not the worst thing in the world. All right, let's be honest with ourselves here. It could be worse. It could be absolutely stormy. We've had severe weather, all sorts of stuff, but just the clouds here this morning across much of the areas. A cold front comes sweeping through the area. Temperatures hovering in the 50s as we go through the course of the day, dropping off into the 40s. We'll kind of go back and forth between clouds and stars here tonight as our main cold front makes progress across the area late tonight, early tomorrow morning, of course, ushering in another blast of chilly air. So the frontal boundary here this morning, again, we've had a warm front that has lifted northward. It actually helped to facilitate some of this moisture lingering overhead, and for some folks, a little bit of cooler air, warmer air, getting to the low 60s in places like Oxford as well as Corinth early this morning. That will not be the case through the remainder of the day. The colder air is going to be working its way southward as we go through the
course of the day. So the temperatures in those locations that were able to make their way to the 60s will drop into the 50s as we go through the course of the day. See the colder air blowing in here. On the western side of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe a little clearing before the afternoon is all said and done. From Memphis's perspective, you might be able to look westward at sunset, see a little bit of clearing. The next batch of clouds will come swinging through the area overnight tonight, clears it out, and then here's the cold air in place as we head towards your Wednesday. And it will be not as cold as what we saw late last week, but still cold nonetheless. You see the coldest of the air staying well to the north of us as high pressure begins to build in our direction, and that will take us into your Thursday. Of course, the colder air coming direct out of Canada, moving in our direction, but this will not be a long-term situation. This is kind of a fleeting cold snap that will push through the area as warmer air begins to build out to the west and starts building in our direction as we head towards the end of the week, and that will also facilitate some changes in the pattern as well. So some mist, some drizzle here today. Temperatures in the 50s, kind of hovering here throughout the day. Cool northerly breeze flowing through here. You'll need the jackets all day long. Tomorrow morning we'll start off around freezing up to about the upper 40s with sunshine. Mostly sunny skies to start off the day on Thursday, but clouds will start to sneak in here late in the day. We'll call it a high near 50 after morning start in the 20s early in the day. Now overall not looking terribly bad. Again, we're dry as we head towards Wednesday, Thursday, most of Friday as well, but the rain chances will begin to increase Friday night into Saturday. I think Saturday may trend towards a washout as we get moisture coming in, surging along with that milder air coming in from the west. So with the milder air turning in to moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico and an approaching system will help to facilitate at least a chance for some rain to move into the Mid-South as we head towards your Saturday night into your Sunday. But I think by Sunday we should be in a drier scenario that will play out for us as we get ready for some unsettled patterns that will take us into the majority of the forecast here in the next couple of days. Here's the 7-day forecast, and again we'll go for high temperatures in the 50s here today, and just kind of hovering there throughout the course of the day. 48 the high as we head towards your Wednesday, down to the 20s early on Thursday morning, and then trying to rebound back up through the 50s. There will be some better rain chances coming along with the opportunities for that next system coming down the pipeline Friday night into Saturday. And again, Saturday looks to be pretty wet. We should dry it out by Sunday. Monday we'll add in another chance for rain, and beyond this in the extended 10-day forecast, as you can see here on the screen. Again, we'll probably also have some opportunities for cooler air, milder air to stick around in the extended range. Temperatures in the 50s for this time of the year is about where we should be. And I think that as we go throughout much of mid next week, we'll also have a couple of opportunities for showers to sneak back in here. Tuesday may be dry, but I think Wednesday and Thursday there will be some lingering opportunities for showers. And beyond Thursday of next week, the cooler air mass may make a presence known here. Of course, you can stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere with the 10-day forecast on actionnews5.com, the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app as well. You can also use the app to track any showers right there in the palm of your hand and the hourly forecast for your backyard.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We are smack dab in the middle of the holiday season, and so many people are excited about it. One person I know is excited about it, in addition to myself, is Talisa Franklin, joining us on the Action News 5 Digital Desk with always so many positive, upbeat, and wonderful events happening across Memphis and the Mid-South. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
I am amazing, and I'm super excited because it's Christmas time, Andrew. I feel like a little kid at Christmas. I really do. I love the lights. I love the love. I just love everything that comes along with coming out December. It's one of my favorite times of the year.
No question about it. You know, this weekend I was with my wife and we were driving around just our neighborhood, you know, seeing all the lights, having the music playing in the car, and it really put us in the mood. It's such a wonderful time of the year. So what's going on in your world?
Well, I tell you, this week it's Christmas in Raleigh, and let me tell you, Raleigh that's doing amazing things. And I'm very grateful to lead this charge with Love City Christmas Experience. And we're doing it in Raleigh. And so that Friday night, y'all, let me tell you, if you are in the Raleigh community or anywhere in Memphis, come out to celebrate the community for their Christmas tree lighting. It will be spectacular. We have an amazing choirs and bands from area schools will be there. And y'all know I'm always excited to see my amazing Mayor Lee Harris. Of course, Mayor Paul Young will be there. County Commissioner Charlie Caswell, Councilwoman Rhonda Logan, and so many others will be there. But we're going to have so much holiday cheer to kick off our Christmas in Raleigh. And that happens on that Friday. And then Saturday, y'all, I'm super excited for our 4th annual Bluff City Christmas Experience Parade happening this year in the Raleigh community. It starts at 10 o'clock that morning, and it's going to be super fantastic. That whole day we'll have a good time. And then that night, y'all, I am the host of Legacy of Legends, 12 Tastes of Christmas. Listen, this is an organization that is doing a lot of things to deal with ACEs in our community. And I'm super excited to be a part of an event that's going to raise funds, to raise money, to make sure they have what they need to service the community. So let me tell you, all this weekend, I need y'all to hang out with your girl. I would truly love to see your face. I would love to hug on you and you hug on me. And let's show each other some love at this Christmas time. So listen, you can always go to my Facebook page at Talisa Franklin, see all of my stuff, right? And all the things that I'm doing, because this weekend is about Christmas in Raleigh and all about making sure we're giving back to organizations that is truly doing the work. And so it's happening, y'all. It's Christmas time right here in the Bluff City. So I'm excited about the experience that we'll experience on this weekend celebrating the holidays.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. And certainly, I can't believe it. I said it on the air today to Lisa that we are just 2 weeks away. I mean, it's 15 days, you know, until Christmas Day. It's gone so fast.
Yes, it has. You know, I was out with my little niece last night and we were just talking. I was like, you'll be at my house opening gifts in just a few days. And she was looking at me like, what are you talking about, TT? And I'm like, I'm getting excited like a kid because literally, y'all, Christmas is in a few days. And Andrew, this is something I said to my congregation on Sunday. And I want to share to our listeners and our viewers. Listen, we know the holidays is coming up. Don't get stressed out about things. Create memories with your family. Life is short. And so whether you can go buy elaborate gifts or can't buy no gift at all, remember, you are the gift to your family because without you, there will be no holiday. So don't get bent out of shape. Love on your family, love on your friends this holiday season. Create the memories that will last a lifetime. You can buy toys, you can buy gifts, you can buy electronics and all that stuff. They break, but memories will never be forgotten. And so I say that to somebody today that's stressed out, saying, I don't know how I'm gonna make Christmas. I don't know how I'm gonna make Christmas. You are the gift. And just make sure that you keep yourself healthy and happy to make somebody else smile. Because remember, without you, their holidays would never be the same.
Agreed. Well said, Talisa Franklin. Thank you so much for sharing and appreciate you and everything that you do throughout the year. Have a great one.
Thank you, brother. Bye-bye.
See you later. Okay, another
Bye.
live look from our High Five camera here downtown. Kind of cloudy out, 52 degrees at 8:37. We'll be talking about your forecast, among other things, here on Action News 5's Digital Desk. Was it raining when you came in? Just cloudy. Gotcha. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Let me talk about dry eye for a minute here. It is increasingly common, and it can range from occasional symptoms to chronic disease. Symptoms that can include scratchy or gritty feelings, redness, fluctuation of vision, blurriness, tired eyes, and eye irritation. So what causes it, and how do we manage some of those symptoms? I'm joined right now by a couple of people that can really help us with this discussion right now. I'm joined by Dr. Christopher Starr. He's a refractive and cornea surgeon, and Rebecca Petrus. She's president and co-founder of the Dry Eye Foundation. Thank you both for joining us. Dr. Starr, let me start with you. Tell me first, what is dry eye and what causes it? Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having us. We're very happy to be here. Dry eye disease or dry eyes are exactly that. It's when our eyes get dried out, they get irritated, they get gritty, sandy, burnt. Sometimes the symptoms are burning and stinging, and very commonly the symptoms are blurry vision or fluctuating vision, and a whole host of other symptoms that one can have. And it is a very common condition. It's something, as an ophthalmologist, I see every single day, many, many times. And so Rebecca and I are here to raise awareness, to let people know that this is a real condition. It's not something that people should suffer with. There are great treatments for this. It is very common. You're not the only one. And so see an eye doctor if you have any of these symptoms and get treated as quickly as possible. Dry eye is usually caused by either a decrease in tear production. Our eyes don't make enough tears, or the tears that we make are of poor quality and tend to evaporate very quickly, leading to dry spots on the eyes. And each of those things can lead to those symptoms I've just described and can lead to these changes in our vision. It's extremely common, and we see it in all ages, not just older people. We see it in kids, we see it in young adults. And a big driver in that younger population is exactly what we're doing right now, which is staring at our computers. We don't blink as often. Our eyes tend to dry out, the tears evaporate. We're not blinking to reestablish the tear film, and we get dry eyes, and that of course gets worse and worse and worse as the hours add up and the days add up and the years add up, and that's a big cause of dry eyes. But there are plenty and plenty of other things that lead to dry eyes, other medical conditions, autoimmune conditions, and a whole host of other diseases can lead to dry eyes. Medications that we take, the environment, our diets, things we put in our bodies, humidity, low humidity, blowing air, the list goes on and on and on and on. But the common thing are these symptoms, and if you have any of these symptoms, see an eye doctor as quickly as you can.
Rebecca, over to you. I want to ask you something, Rebecca, if you don't mind. Tell me what, from your capacity, I mean, you are the president of the Dry Eye Foundation. What do you hear the most from people that have these dry eye symptoms? What kind of complaints, how does it impact their daily life?
Right, so there's dry eye and there's dry eye, right? Anybody can have a little bit of dry eye symptoms. Most of us do occasionally. That's a whole different thing than dry eye disease, where your eyes, whatever specific symptoms you've got, your eyes are basically uncomfortable all day long, and that is going to affect pretty much everything that you do. Work comes to mind first, because as Dr. Starr said, we're just on screens all of the time. That's one of the environments where we're going to experience this the most. Being outdoors is an issue for people. Driving is an issue for a lot of us. Being in over air conditioned or heated environments. There's just a lot of circumstances that are going to make us very uncomfortable. The recent Bausch & Lomb survey did a really great job of highlighting some things about this, like the fact that there's so many people with dry eye, but yet so few are seeing an eye doctor. because what happens is we don't go to get help for it until it's gotten to the point where it's seriously interfering with our lives. So another thing that they highlighted in the survey was what this means to people who are going through it. They found that 8 out of 10 people who have these more advanced forms of dry eye, the persistent symptoms, they're constantly aware of how their eyes feel. Normal people are not going to notice how their eyes feel all day long. We do, and that's our impetus to do something about it. So Dr. Starr and I are wanting to raise awareness to say, please get to the doctor earlier. If you start experiencing these more and more, or you find you're using eye drops regularly, you really want to get checked out.
Dr. Starr, let me ask you, so how do people, what's best practices to manage symptoms and reduce symptoms?
Well, the best thing to do is to see the eye doctor, because there are so many ways to go about treating this and diagnosing it, by the way. And it's good to and there are usually lots of variables. It's multifactorial often. And so we can kind of guide you into the best sort of practice for managing this as best as possible. A lot of people will start sort of self-treat on their own, and that's usually the over-the-counter eye drops, and that's perfectly reasonable place to start. You know, over-the-counter lubricating drops, put them in when the symptoms come on. Certainly if you're taking them more than 2 or 3 times a day, that's really a good indication to see a specialist. Warm compresses, sort of dietary changes, avoiding low humidity and blowing air. Very importantly, on the computer, we should all be blinking more often, taking breaks, looking away from this close computer into the distance. And I always recommend just kind of closing the eyes, as I'm doing now, for 20 seconds or so every 20 minutes, just to kind of let the eyes re-lubricate. But very importantly, see an eye doctor. We have great treatments for all stages of ocular surface and dry eye disease, from prescription medications to procedures that we do in the office, to specialty contact lenses and tear duct plugs, and the list goes on and on and on and on. So very important to get the diagnosis, get a customized treatment plan, and get this condition reversed.
Rebecca, over to you. Tell me where people can get more information and just, get some questions answered if they have dry eye.
Right, well, we're a nonprofit organization. Our main website is dryeyefoundation.org. We've got tons of educational materials there for people, and also support, because people who are going through the severe versions of this, they're having a hard time. They're seeing impact at work, they're seeing impact throughout their life, and connecting people who can share advice and support is really important to us.
Okay, Rebecca Petrus, and go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, Boston Loam has a website called knowyourdryeye.com as well, which is also a great resource in addition to Rebecca's website.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you both joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We appreciate your time this morning. Douglas, we are always trying to look for optimal mental health and looking for different ways, maybe different hacks, lifestyle changes, that sort of thing. Well, there is some new research out there that suggests that connecting with your spiritual side may be the answer to optimal health. Let's bring in someone to talk more about that aspect to it. I'm joined now by Renee Dillard. She is the Director of Community Behavioral Health for Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare. Renee, good morning to you. So tell me more about spiritual well-being and that connection to optimal mental health. Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. It's wonderful to be with you today, and I appreciate the opportunity for this good conversation. Especially over the past few years, during and coming through the COVID-19 pandemic, we find ourselves in a season where we can imagine that really every person we meet is dealing with something. I think that experience of the pandemic in many ways revealed some realities about our mental health and then exacerbated some symptoms related to mental health. One unexpected gift of that season is that while stigma is still present related to mental illness and mental health concerns, we are more open talking about it. And I think that includes within our faith communities as well. So while that stigma is still present, our faith communities are a wonderful place to have that conversation. And there is more and more awareness now that many of the religious life practices and spiritual practices that have been present really for millennia now are also good for our mental well-being too. Our religious life is a place where we are really grounded and anchored in some of our shared values. And when I say values, I really mean just focus on what is meaningful for us, what is most important, and what matters for us. And those spaces also help us keep moving in that direction towards what is meaningful and towards what matters the most.
So, Renee, I mean, here we are, we're smack dab in the middle of the Bible Belt, and there are plenty of people, I'm sure, saying right now, of course, yes. I mean, in order to find that optimal mental health, you need to have that spiritual side, and you need to make it a priority in order to find it. What does that look like exactly? And what kind of studies suggest that spirituality is the key to mental health?
One that was interesting that came out fairly recently was through the Fetzer Institute. And I'll preface this by saying that there is evidence that some of our religious membership, like in a church or a synagogue or mosque, may be waning for some of the organized religious paths that we've had to us. And yet that part of who we are is still alive and vibrant and well. This Fetzer Institute study came out in 2023, coming out of the pandemic, and revealed that 88% of Americans still practice at least one spiritual or religious practice at least one time per week. And you mentioned here in Memphis, we have a strong and vibrant faith community here. We see evidence of that often. And even the National Alliance on Mental Illness, NAMI, recognizes the preventive and proactive factors that are connected with religious and spiritual life, helping to bolster our mental health as well. In many ways, I think that comes for a couple of reasons. One, a lot of those practices are grounded in community and connection. And we also know of late, there's been a lot that's been reported and said about what's almost an epidemic of loneliness in our society. And faith communities are a place to dispel that loneliness. It's a place for us to connect and to support one another throughout life's highs and lows. And then the personal practices that are connected with spirituality and with religion, practices of prayer and meditation, of contemplation, of silence, and then our shared practices of worship together, outreach and service together. All of these practices help foster good spiritual health and well-being, and they also impact our mental emotional health. You know, we think of our health in a compartmentalized way, like what do I need to do to be physically healthy and whole? What do I need for my mental emotional health? What do I need for my spiritual health? And yet we are also one person and one body. So just as the things that I do for my physical health, like good exercise and nutrition, benefit my mental health, the same is true for our spiritual health and well-being. Those practices, especially even the small practices over time, help keep us centered and grounded and give us a sense of connection and belonging.
So let's spell it out for people out there who may be tuning in and watching us and saying, okay, I need more mental health stability in my life. I need better mental health. I want to start this journey with getting first my spiritual mental health and my spirituality correct. How do they begin this process? And spell it out for them, maybe some bullet points.
Thank you. I think one thing to remember is that many of us are connected to a faith community, perhaps a particular church or synagogue, mosque, some other community of faith. And yet, whether we are connected in that way or not, we are all spiritual beings. So finding ways to foster that sense of meaning and connection in our life through what can be small practices done with great intention. So it could be a moment of meditation and prayer daily. It could be recognizing that I do miss being part of a faith community and seeking out a community where there is good mutual support within that space, a space where when the losses of life happen, as they will, we're not alone in that, and we have people to guide us. So starting small and then building on those practices will yield great benefit.
Well, I think there was a great benefit for our audience this morning. Great conversation, Renee Dillard. We appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Tuesday morning, which is still featuring a lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle. That's the big issue for you this morning. Some patches of fog as well. Kind of a drab, dreary day here across the Mid-South, but overall, again, not the worst thing in the world. All right, let's be honest with ourselves here. It could be worse. It could be absolutely stormy. We've had severe weather, all sorts of stuff, but just the clouds here this morning across much of the areas. A cold front comes sweeping through the area. Temperatures hovering in the 50s as we go through the course of the day, dropping off into the 40s. We'll kind of go back and forth between clouds and stars here tonight as our main cold front makes progress across the area late tonight, early tomorrow morning, of course, ushering in another blast of chilly air. So the frontal boundary here this morning, again, we've had a warm front that has lifted northward. It actually helped to facilitate some of this moisture lingering overhead, and for some folks, a little bit of cooler air, warmer air, getting to the low 60s in places like Oxford as well as Corinth early this morning. That will not be the case through the remainder of the day. The colder air is going to be working its way southward as we go through the course of the day. So the temperatures in those locations that were able to make their way to the 60s will drop into the 50s as we go through the course of the day. See the colder air blowing in here. On the western side of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe a little clearing before the afternoon is all said and done. From Memphis's perspective, you might be able to look westward at sunset, see a little bit of clearing. The next batch of clouds will come swinging through the area overnight tonight, clears it out, and then here's the cold air in place as we head towards your Wednesday. And it will be not as cold as what we saw late last week, but still cold nonetheless. You see the coldest of the air staying well to the north of us as high pressure begins to build in our direction, and that will take us into your Thursday. Of course, the colder air coming direct out of Canada, moving in our direction, but this will not be a long-term situation. This is kind of a fleeting cold snap that will push through the area as warmer air begins to build out to the west and starts building in our direction as we head towards the end of the week, and that will also facilitate some changes in the pattern as well. So some mist, some drizzle here today. Temperatures in the 50s, kind of hovering air throughout the day. day. Cool northerly breeze flowing through here. You'll need the jackets all day long. Tomorrow morning we'll start off around freezing up to about the upper 40s with sunshine. Mostly sunny skies to start off the day on Thursday, but clouds will start to sneak in here late in the day. We'll call it a high near 50 after morning start in the 20s early in the day. Now overall not looking terribly bad. Again, we're dry as we head towards Wednesday, Thursday, most of Friday as well, but the rain chances will begin to increase Friday night into Saturday. I think Saturday may trend towards a washout as we get moisture coming in, surging along with that milder air coming in from the west. So with the milder air turning in to moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico and an approaching system will help to facilitate at least a chance for some rain to move into the Mid-South as we head towards your Saturday night into your Sunday. But I think by Sunday we should be in a drier scenario that will play out for us as we get ready for some unsettled patterns that will take us into the majority of the forecast here in the next couple of days. Here's the 7-day forecast, and again we'll go for high temperatures in the 50s here today, and just kind of hovering there throughout the course of the day. 48 the high as we head towards your Wednesday, down to the 20s early on Thursday morning, and then trying to rebound back up through the 50s. There will be some better rain chances coming along with the opportunities for that next system coming down the pipeline Friday night into Saturday. And again, Saturday looks to be pretty wet. We should dry it out by Sunday. Monday we'll add in another chance for rain, and beyond this in the extended 10-day forecast, as you can see here on the screen. Again, we'll probably also have some opportunities for cooler air, milder air to stick around in the extended range. Temperatures in the 50s for this time of the year is about where we should be. And I think that as we go throughout much of mid next week, we'll also have a couple of opportunities for showers to sneak back in here. Tuesday may be dry, but I think Wednesday and Thursday there will be some lingering opportunities for showers. And beyond Thursday of next week, the cooler air mass may make a presence known here. Of course, you can stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere with the 10-day forecast on ActionNews5.com, the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app as well. You can also use the app to track any showers right there in the palm of your hand and the hourly forecast for your backyard.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. You know, when the weather changes, it gets cooler out. Sometimes we crave that warmth, spice, comfort foods like chili, for example. How can we make some of those comfort foods lighter and healthier? Isn't that a great question? Let's bring in registered dietitian Leslie Eli with Methodist Le Bonheur Healthcare to talk a little bit about this topic here. And Leslie, I appreciate you joining us once again on the digital desk. So where do we begin on trying to make things a little bit lighter out there, especially something like chili? Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yes, those temperatures are cooling down. We are craving those, comfort foods, those warm, cozy things. So, and we're talking about chili. One thing we need to keep in mind is controlling our sodium. So, rinsing our beans, if we're putting beans in our chili, we can even step up the fiber a little bit more alongside our beans by adding some of that canned pumpkin. It's kind of pumpkin season right now as well. So packing that fiber punch, adding things like butternut squash. So really offsetting the total carbs and fat and everything in that chili by adding some of those good nutritious vegetables in there as well.
That's a great idea to do the butternut squash and the pumpkin. Why would we want to, I know it's important to do, but can you explain why we rinse the beans?
Sure. So part of the canning process is they're going to add sodium to it to help kind of keep it shelf stable. So things that are canned are going to be a little bit higher in sodium versus something that's going to be fresh or frozen. So anytime that you can rinse anything that's canned can help reduce the sodium amounts on there, just by rinsing off anything that's on the surface level. Also, you can pick items that say, no salt added or lower sodium. Those are going to be great options as well. So if you can't find something that has no sodium added, rinsing is going to be, the next best thing.
Yeah, sodium is certainly an issue for sure. I mean, some people just think it's just a little bit of salt, but when you're, making a crock pot of chili and stuff, you want it to taste just right, and a lot of times, you can add too much sodium. Anything else you want to mention on the chili, or can I move on to another dish?
Well, one thing with the chili too, great toppings. We can add some things that help keep us satisfied, maybe without eating as much of the chili. So things like avocado, great source of fat there, and can help us keep a little bit more full without having to go back to the chili for seconds or thirds.
Love avocados. Everything is better with avocados. Certainly, I love that. Butternut squash, avocados. You're getting my taste buds going this morning, Leslie. I appreciate that. Something else when it comes to comfort food in the fall and the winter months, a lot of times we like to have those casseroles. What's some good suggestions, some ideas to lighten it and make it healthier?
So one thing you can look for, if you're looking for a recipe for a casserole that's usually got those like cream type soups, I definitely use those in a pinch, but there are casseroles that don't use those. They use more of like a milk and a flour kind of roux type thing to thicken them up. And that's going to help you also keep control of your sodium. So anytime that you're able to, put those ingredients together and cut out something that's going to be canned or packaged, you're actually able to control how much sodium. And seasoning, you can season it any way you want. You can add dried herbs, you can add, peppers and onions, other things besides salt, to make it taste good.
Yeah, a lot of times people do add, cream of mushroom or cream of potato, that sort of thing. And so what you're saying is stay away from that. Just add those things yourself. Slice up a mushroom or a potato, that sort of thing, right?
Correct. And look for recipes that are using like a milk and a flour thickener or a cornstarch thickener, something that's not going to be from a can. You can also, in those casseroles, you can throw in spinach, any type vegetable. You can really, especially if you're kind of, using some sort of cheese or something to top that, really great avenue for adding in all the vegetables.
A lot of times people like to have, pasta, for example, baked ziti. That's one of my favorites. And during the winter months, people like to splurge on that. What are your suggestions for something like a baked ziti?
So definitely we can use a whole wheat pasta. They also have like a chickpea based pasta that's going to be higher in protein. My peeps at my house can't even tell the difference on those, and helps us feel a little bit more full with all that added protein. Sometimes in my meat sauce, I add lentils. And so do half meat, half lentils, to kind of help with the protein, the plant-based proteins. You can shred carrots into your red sauces. You can, again, add pumpkin. So definitely beefing up the vegetables and the plant-based proteins without adding more, meat-based proteins. Those red sauces really help take on the flavor. Everything kind of blends well, and you can't really tell that you've added, carrots, zucchini, lentils, whatever it may be. So those are great tips to kind of try out this season.
Something else, because my wife is gluten-free, and so pasta is kind of a struggle for her. We use sometimes spaghetti squash. I mean, you cook up a spaghetti squash, you bake it in the oven. It is amazing taste-wise, and you can add kind of the same sauces and whatever else, making it a much healthier dish. Anything else that, like tips for anything else this this fall and winter months when it comes to eating to make it lighter and healthier?
Sure. My biggest takeaway for this season, we're coming up on Thanksgiving, Christmas, where everyone's gathering around food and those big dishes. Just remember, this is just, a couple of days out of the year.
Hey.
My biggest thing that I tell my clients, my patients is, skip the things that you can get any other day that you're not as excited about, and fill your plate with foods that you don't get very often, your mom's sweet potato casserole or your aunt's, whatever it might be. Just that is going to help you, I feel like, be a little bit more satisfied with the food choices that you're making, and not necessarily, slamming your plate with everything on the table because you have to have a little bit of everything. Make your plate those things that you really enjoy on those specific days, and leave the mashed potatoes or the green beans for any other day that you can get them. And that's kind of the philosophy that I kind of live by when I'm navigating those food tables.
Those are great. Great ideas, great suggestions. We really appreciate those tips, Leslie. Thank you so much for coming on the Digital Desk and helping the thousands of people who watch us each and every morning. We appreciate it.
Thank
I know, right? That'd piss me off even more. Not a bonus training. I think I'll opt out on that.
Seriously, dude. Stop with that. It's the holidays. Come on now.
Phishing scams.
I don't even fish.
You'll be proud. I think I'm the first one in the company to finish the training.
You did the optional?
No, I did the mandatory, but then I got an optional one. And I said, I think I'm good.
I just did one.
It's like 4 videos and the quiz.
Yeah. So it's the fishing and the smart speakers and all that. Yeah.
You did it?
Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Taylor Tucker in for Andrew Douglas. We have a great interview lined up for you right now. This morning, we're talking about protecting seniors from scams. Get this stat that I read. Crimes against seniors totaled more than $3.4 billion in losses this past year, with more than 100,000 complaints were filed by people over the age of 60 in 2023. That's an 11% increase from the previous year. So this is a very important topic. And joining us to discuss the common senior scams, how to identify them, and how to protect yourself from those scams is Chad White, the Executive VP at Brookdale Senior Living. Good morning to you, Chad.
Good morning, Taylor. How are you?
I'm pretty good. Thanks so much for joining us on the Digital Desk. Let's just jump right into it, because scams, we all hate them, and there's so many to discuss. But tell me, what are the few most common scams that you see often that target seniors?
Well, Taylor, there are several different kinds that are pretty common. One of the first is relationship or scams that they're based on a relationship or some sort of close connection potentially to a victim. So in that case, one of the most common scenarios is someone calls, they're pulling on your heartstrings, they're exploiting loneliness potentially, but they're trying to say that maybe you've got a family member who's in trouble and needs some support. That's a pretty common one. Another common one is phishing or identity theft scams. This is where a very common variety of that is where you have a situation where a vendor sends an email, purported vendor, somebody that you usually do business with, and says you haven't paid, or you need to submit payment information, and they're asking you to click on a link or open an attachment in an email. That can typically be something that's causing identity theft because they want your credit card information or other personally sensitive information. Another one is non-payment calls or visits. This time of year when it's really hot outside, a lot of seniors get visits from people pretending to be from the utility company. They may actually be wearing clothes that looks like their local utility provider. They may come from a phone call and a phone number that is spoofing that information. And what they're trying to do is demand that you pay the bill immediately or that your services get cut off. So all of these are very common. The relationship scams are probably sort of one of the most common ones. You see it from where someone adopts an online identity, a fake identity, and they reach out via social media or a dating site or something like that, develop a relationship, and then ultimately ask for money. Say they have an emergency expense or need something like that. And all they're trying to do is scam a senior out of their hard-earned savings.
That's unfortunate, and I know you only listed 3, but there are so many scams that you could probably spend the entire day talking about. How can we spot a scam, though?
Well, there's some clear signs. One of the most clear signs that you may be being scammed is if someone demands money urgently or immediately. If they tell you that you need to act now, Taylor, or you can't, or don't tell a loved one, don't tell a friend, that's a very clear sign that you may be scammed. Another sign is if someone threatens to go to the authorities. If you don't take action and do what they're requesting, submit money, make a payment, etc., that may be a clear sign. One other one that I think is when they ask you to wire money, particularly if they ask you to wire money overseas or pay something through an unusual payment system such as a gift card or cryptocurrency or something like that. If you get that, that's a clear warning sign that something may be amiss.
Yeah, even when you take those steps, I always like when we have interviews like this, is it possible to avoid scams altogether?
Well, it's probably, it may not be possible to avoid them altogether because they're coming all the time, but there are some things you can do to help protect yourself or to protect your loved ones. And so one of the first things I would say, Taylor, is to be cautious. Take time to research or verify the situation. If you get one of these calls with a loved one, for example, who's claiming that they need money, they may claim to be your granddaughter or grandson or niece or nephew, and they say they need money for a bill or something like that, take time to find out what's going on. You need to verify that. I would take their number, call back, tell them you'll call them back, and then actually call them back on the number that you know is their number. Verify that it's there, or call a loved one in that case. There are some other things that I would say are very important to do, particularly as it relates to identity theft. Never click on a link or an attachment in an unsolicited email or text message even. They're getting very sophisticated these days. They will look like, the emails will look like they're coming from somebody that you do business with, but don't click on those links. Go directly to the website or call their customer service number directly if you think there's an issue that you need to deal with a vendor.
Great advice there. Educating yourself is definitely the first step. Tell us a little bit about Brookdale, how you help educate your residents and those families who you work with closely. How do you educate them on this?
Well, it's really important to us, Taylor. We at Brookdale, our mission is to enrich lives, and so we want to provide as many resources as we can to help protect our seniors and their loved ones and help them avoid becoming a victim of these types of scams. And so we do a number of things. One, certain of our communities bring in experts, whether it be experts in finance or security, who provide information and up-to-date information to our residents and their family members. We also, because of our size and scale, have a lot of resources we can provide either through email communications or blogs on our website or through other means like that, community newsletters. It's really important to make sure people are up to date on these things because prevention is the most important way to stop these scams.
Absolutely, Chad. A lot of great advice there. Last question for you. If we want to learn more, for those watching at home, they want to educate themselves, where can they go online to learn more information?
Well, I'd encourage your viewers to visit our website, brookdale.com. We have a lot of great information on there, additional stuff on how to protect yourself from scams, other good tips, and also links to some important sites like the FBI where there's a lot of additional information. It's really important for seniors and family members and those who love their seniors to stay up to date and informed. So I'd encourage them to visit the brookdale.com website.
All right, again, that was Chad White with Brookdale Senior Living. Chad, was there anything else that you wanted to add that I did not ask you today?
You know, I would just say the most important thing is just to be very, very aware and cautious. Try to do what you can. I'd say another tip that's probably important is never wire money. If you get an unsolicited email or phone call, don't wire money, particularly if they're asking you to wire it overseas. Just be very cautious. If someone's asking you for money or for your personal information, you need to protect that as much as you can.
All righty, that was Chad White. Thanks so much for stopping by the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We look forward to chatting with you again. See you, Chad.
Thanks, Taylor.
A little bit about pickleball. We've talked about how it is the fastest growing sport in the U.S. right now. There has been a report released, 36.5 million people have played pickleball at least once in the last year. That's 14% of the adult population. But here's the thing, with all these people playing pickleball, and some of those games and some of those matches are very competitive. I've seen it firsthand. There are injuries associated with pickleball. In fact, Memphis's own Campbell Clinic just released the first and only study of its kind talking about the most common injuries when it comes to pickleball. Let's talk to someone who knows a little bit about this recent study. I have the pleasure now to join, to have Dr. Fred Azar, Chief Staff of Campbell Clinic, joining us on the Action News 5 digital desk. Dr. Azar, always good to see you. How are things at Campbell Clinic? Good morning.
Great to see you. Thanks for having me. Everything's
Appreciate
great.
you being here. So let's talk about this first of its kind study that really kind of dives deep into some of the most common injuries associated with pickleball.
So we noticed a few years ago that we had some patients coming in with these pickleball injuries, and there was a little bit of a pattern. People in their 50s, 60s, and 70s were coming in with injuries, and we felt like there was a need to make them aware that these injuries could happen playing pickleball. So we looked around the literature, and there was really not much in the literature to educate our patients. So we decided to do this study. We wanted to, first of all, review the literature to see what was out there. And secondly, we launched a survey so we could get our patients to participate in this survey to give us information that we could provide broadly. So we published this study. It's not published yet, but it's been accepted for publication. It'll be out soon. It's got information on raising the awareness of pickleball injuries, review the literature, and also we've included our survey with some information there on some recommendations on how to avoid injuries.
So let's talk about some of the most common injuries that you saw in this study when it came to pickleball.
So we found that we've so far have over 500 participants. This is our survey, not the raw literature, but it's pretty much in sync with what's out there in the literature. About 55% were women, 45% men, and 2/3 were more than 55 years of age. The majority of injuries are soft tissue injuries, meniscal tears, tendonitis like Achilles tendonitis or rotator cuff tendonitis, back strains, ankle sprains are pretty common. About 40% were fractures, the most common being wrist fractures from falls, usually backwards when attempting to go back to make a shot.
Got it. Are there maybe some best practices? We have so many people that love pickleball. Are there maybe some best practices out there to try and prevent some of these injuries, Doctor?
Certainly, the number one thing is awareness. You can get hurt. This is a sport that's relatively new. Just raising the awareness for that. Certainly, warming up is really important. You want to be able to warm up and cool down properly, just like you do with any sport. You need proper equipment, so shoe wear is really important. Running shoes aren't great for it. A tennis shoe is better, some more low-profile shoe. Some people want to brace a knee or an ankle if they've got an ailment. That's important to do. And also really moderation and cross-training. It's not great to play this sport 5 days a week, 3 hours at a time. You're going to come in with some overuse injury. Hydration is really important too. We actually found that, and I don't mean alcohol, we found that 6% of participants, at least in our survey, were consuming alcohol while playing the sport. So it's really important to think about hydrating, but not in that respect. It's a pretty social sport, but hydrating without alcohol is a pretty good way to go. And then really play to your level. Don't try and play somebody who's going to be a lot tougher than you competition-wise. Play to your level. Listen to your body. So if you think you've got something brewing, step aside and let somebody else play.
Alcohol during pickleball, that sounds crazy and scary and something that no one should be able to do. I mean, because
it's not like golf.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot going on there. I mean, where I work out at my gym, there are pickleball courts, and they're always packed, and there are some fierce games. And you're part of the Memphis Mid-South area. I mean, you've seen all these pickleball courts going up everywhere. I mean, it is growing fast across the country and here in the U.S. Some people think it's an older person's sport, but I'm seeing everybody, young, old, all demographics playing this sport. Anything else you'd like to share, Dr. Azar, about this to maybe kind of minimize anyone getting hurt?
Well, you're right. It started out as an older person sport, but now everybody's playing it. I think that the important thing for us is to bring awareness to patients and people that are playing the sport that you can become injured. And raising that awareness we think is really important. And then giving some information on how we can prevent injuries. That's what we're all about, injury prevention. And people that want to participate in our survey, go to camelclinic.com. You can click on the link to the survey. We're trying to get more information out there so we can build a survey and we can advance the knowledge of this sports to all people who are participating in it.
Okay, so 500 participants, a part of this study, and you said, is it posted right now on camelclinic.com so our viewers can see for themselves?
The survey is available. The publication will be out soon, and we'll have that link too. But we want people to participate in the survey. Again, we've got over 500 people so far. We want to add to that survey.
Got it. All right, Dr. Fred Azar, Campbell Clinic Chief of Staff. Really appreciate your time on the digital desk. Feel free to come on any other time to keep us up to date on whatever's happening, pickleball or not. Thanks so very much. What's up?
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Tuesday morning, which is still featuring a lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle. That's the big issue for you this morning. Some patches of fog as well. Kind of a drab, dreary day here across the Mid-South. But overall, again, not the worst thing in the world. All right, let's be honest with ourselves here. It could be worse. It could be absolutely storm. We've had severe weather, all sorts of stuff. But just the clouds here this morning across much of the areas. A cold front comes sweeping through the area. Temperatures hovering in the 50s as we go through the course of the day, dropping off into the 40s. We'll kind of go back and forth between clouds and stars here tonight as our main cold front makes progress across the area late tonight, early tomorrow morning, of course, ushering in another blast of chilly air. So the frontal boundary here this morning, again, we've had a warm front that has lifted northward. It actually helped to facilitate some of this moisture lingering overhead. And for some folks, a little bit of cooler air, warmer air, getting to the low 60s in places like Oxford as well as Corinth early this morning. That will not be the case through the remainder of the day. The colder air is going to be working its way southward as we go through the course of the day. So the temperatures in those locations that were able to make their way to the 60s will drop into the 50s as we go through the course of the day. See the colder air blowing in here. On the western side of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe a little clearing before the afternoon is all said and done. From Memphis's perspective, you might be able to look westward at Sunset, see a little bit of clearing. The next batch of clouds will come swinging through the area overnight tonight, clears it out, and then here's the cold air in place as we head towards your Wednesday. And it will be not as cold as what we saw late last week, but still cold nonetheless. You see the coldest of the air staying well to the north of us as high pressure begins to build in our direction, and that will take us into your Thursday. Of course, the colder air coming direct out of Canada, moving in our direction, but this will not be a long-term situation. This is kind of a fleeting cold snap that will push through the area as warmer air begins to build out to the west and starts building in our direction as we head towards the end of the week, and that will also facilitate some changes in the pattern as well. So some mist and drizzle here today. Temperatures in the 50s, kind of hovering here throughout the day. Cool northerly breeze flowing through here. You'll need the jackets all day long. Tomorrow morning we'll start off around freezing up to about the upper 40s with sunshine. Mostly sunny skies to start off the day on Thursday, but clouds will start to sneak in here late in the day. We'll call it a high near 50 after morning start in the 20s early in the day. Now overall not looking terribly bad. Again, we're dry as we head towards Wednesday, Thursday, most of Friday as well, but the rain chances will begin to increase Friday night into Saturday. I think Saturday may trend towards a washout as we get moisture coming in, surging along with that milder air coming in from the west. So with the milder air turning in to moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico and an approaching system will help to facilitate at least a chance for some rain to move into the Mid-South as we head towards your Saturday night into your Sunday. But I think by Sunday we should be in a drier scenario that will play out for us as we get ready for some unsettled patterns that will take us into the majority of the forecast here in the next couple of days. Here's the 7-day forecast, and again, we'll go for high temperatures in the 50s here today, and just kind of hovering there throughout the course of the day. 48 the high as we head towards your Wednesday, down to the 20s early on Thursday morning, and then trying to rebound back up through the 50s. There will be some better rain chances coming along with the opportunities for that next system coming down the pipeline Friday night into Saturday. And again, Saturday looks to be pretty wet. We should dry it out by Sunday. Monday, we'll add in another chance for rain and beyond this in the extended 10-day forecast, as you can see here on the screen. Again, we'll probably also have some opportunities for cooler air, milder air to stick around in the extended range. Temperatures in the 50s for this time of the year is about where we should be. And I think that as we go throughout much of mid next week, we'll also have a couple of opportunities for showers to sneak back in here. Tuesday may be dry, but I think Wednesday and Thursday there will be some lingering opportunities for showers. And beyond Thursday of next week, the cooler air mass may make a presence known here. Of course, you can stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere with the 10-day forecast on actionnews5.com, the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app as well. You can also use the app to track any showers right there in the palm of your hand and the hourly forecast for your backyard.
You know, got to stand up once in a while. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Understanding which supplements to take. Boy, that is a question. That is something that a lot of people struggle with. What's the best supplement for your brain, for your body? Which one works better for men or women? What about younger and older folks? Which ones should benefit the older population versus the younger population? There's never been more types and brands of supplements out there. It can be hard to know exactly which one to choose from. So let's bring in a couple of experts right now to help us with this. I am joined by two ladies here, Kristen Skinner, personal trainer, leader at Lifetime Fitness in Collierville, and Kirby Gorham, a personal trainer, also a nutrition coach, also at Lifetime Fitness in Collierville. Ladies, thank you for joining us on a very important topic. So I'll leave this up to both of you if you want to respond to this. Where do we begin? If someone is watching right now and they're like, okay, I want to feel better, I want more energy, where do they begin when it comes to looking for the right supplement for them?
Hi, Andrew. Thank you so much for having us on today. We're so happy to be here. It's such a big, open-ended question, right? Because you could go anywhere. You can go into a local grocery store or the drugstore or even like a local nutrition shop, and you can find all kinds of supplements that are on the shelf, but where to begin? So at the very root of it, I would start with the low-hanging fruit, and that's your multivitamin. And then how to choose your multivitamin, that's a completely different story. But at Lifetime, we like to promote the Foundational 5. And in the Foundational 5, we start with the multivitamin. Then you have others that go along with that, your vitamin D3, K2, your omega-3s, that's your fish oils. a little bit of zinc, magnesium. So that's the beginning.
I like that. I like that foundational five. Kirby, I want to ask you, you're a nutrition coach there at Lifetime Fitness. What's the biggest question? What are the biggest questions that you get in your role?
Well, especially right now with the seasons changing, I mean, people are really interested in boosting their immunity and making sure that they don't get sick. My biggest thing is vitamin D. I believe vitamin D plays such a crucial role, especially as we don't get it in the sun right now. Vitamin D actually communicates with our DNA to turn genes on or off, especially regarding the immune system. And so it's so crucial that everybody at least take 5,000 IUs of vitamin D every single day.
Okay, I know we have thousands of people that watch us here each and every morning on the digital desk. They are writing this down, a multivitamin, vitamin D, okay, 5,000 IUs. A lot of people like the idea of taking collagen because there are so many marketing gurus out there that say, okay, you take collagen, you will look younger, and we all want to do that. Which collagen works best for us? Which ones should we stay away from? And they run the gamut in terms of expensiveness. Feel free to answer either one.
So I don't want to discount, other brands that are on the market, but the most important thing to know is how things are processed and if they're third-party tested. So that's one thing we can say with certainty at Lifetime is that our products are third-party tested. I want to piggyback on that also because at the cellular level, we're made up of amino acids, right? We're made up of protein, and that's what collagen is. So one of the benefits to collagen is your hair regrowth, but in addition to that, you want to pay attention to your gut health. So at Lifetime, we have a new colostrum supplement that some people might not be aware of. Colostrum is a good supplement to pull in with collagen. We have this neat little collagen supplement called Rewind. It's an elixir. It's just a shot that you take. So there's different ways to get in collagen. Now it's kind of a hip thing to put collagen in your coffee. Not my flavor, but if that's yours, that's the way to add it in. But when you're looking at collagen, you don't want to just get all of your protein from collagen. So you can use collagen as a way to increase overall protein, but not as the primary source of protein.
Kirby, I want to ask you, you mentioned immunity is something that people are talking about now with the changing of the seasons, and you mentioned vitamin D. What about probiotics? A lot of people wonder what kind we should take. Should we take the ones that are refrigerated or not? What do you tell your clients?
So probiotics are tricky because, there's such a huge market for it. You walk into Sprouts and you see this whole refrigerated section of probiotics. Our probiotics here are great. I would definitely opt for a shelf-stable one because if you think about it, these probiotics have to go through the acidic environment of your gut. Mm-hmm. So, if a probiotic has to be refrigerated, it's kind of silly. Like, how is it going to make it, through the digestive system if it can't even make it, in the environment without being chilled? Mm-hmm. You definitely want one with acidophilus. What else do you think?
L-reuteri is the big one for your immune system. To piggyback off of that, a popular thing is kombucha, and whether you buy it, from the store or you brew it yourself, it's the same thing. And a lot of times with some of these probiotics, there are a lot of additives. Yes. So same thing when you buy yogurt, right? You buy a yogurt that claims it has probiotics, but it doesn't list the probiotics that are in there. And there are 5 foundational probiotics that you want to look to make sure you're getting a good 50,000 IUs when you're looking at L-reuteri, for example, or more. So there's some great resources out there on probiotics. You can look at lifetime.life and just search probiotics, and we've got some good information available to read if you like.
Another one that people, in the last few years, at least that I've seen, is this emphasis to have more protein in your diet, especially as you get older. Tell me where you guys stand on protein powder, maybe having it more just from, meat and vegetables, that sort of thing. Where are we on the protein? How much should we get and where we should get it?
So protein is you asked me the question earlier and I said vitamin D, but protein is another one. So many people do not get enough protein. And when I tell them that you need to get as much protein as your goal body weight, they are real hesitant with that. Because I mean, it seems like a lot of food that you have to eat. And yes, we want to get our protein from whole food sources. But we have great options with our protein powder. And I feel like everybody should have a protein shake every day, at least to supplement. It's kind of like the multivitamin, like you can't out eat your diet. You have to have a good diet, but the supplementation is so important and it's helpful.
Okay, all right. Any other mistakes and maybe some myths out there that you see all the time at Lifetime Fitness in Collierville, or just with your friends and family that they might think, and when actuality, the real deal is something completely different?
Yeah, two things, Andrew. One is people think that they can just buy a multivitamin anywhere and they're safe and they're getting what they need. But the challenge to that is most of the multivitamins that you buy on the market are probably in a tablet form because they're less expensive. But tablets have a lot of fillers and glues that hold them together. So first and foremost, I would say avoid tablets. Second, you want to make sure that they're third-party tested. You want to make sure that you're getting a good quality product. One of the biggest things that I hear regularly is that, oh, I get all my nutrients from my food. But what we have to remember is that oftentimes it's great to buy fruits and vegetables and fresh meats at the grocery store, but a lot of times by the time we pick up fruits and vegetables at the grocery store, get it to our house, and then actually prepare it and eat it, it's already several days or maybe over a week old. So getting things that are fresh are challenging. And I tell my clients all the time that, you'd really have to eat serving sizes the size of your head in fruits and vegetables to be able to get in all of your quality nutrients that you need in a day. So taking a supplement is not going to hurt you. What often people say is that, well, how am I going to know the difference? I don't feel any different. How am I going to know any difference? And you don't know any difference right away if you're eating, a banana versus an apple or a pear or a plum, but they have different sugar levels. You're not going to know that right away until maybe 48 hours later or a few weeks later. But here's the challenge with supplements. When you're getting your nutrients that your body needs, you might not know the benefits of that for another 10 years. That's our body's way of, you notice when you're in your 30s and 40s, you start to feel things differently. And all of that is coming on from how we've taken care of ourselves in our 20s all the way up through our 30s. So that's the most challenging thing, is when you're young and you're healthy and you're vibrant and you think that, oh, I'm doing fine. Well, those are really the times that we should be paying attention.
Good point. I appreciate that, Kristen and Kirby. You guys have been great this morning. Final thing, we've said a lot. We've talked about protein. We've talked about multivitamins, boosting your immunity, vitamin D. Where can people find this stuff online that maybe we talked about, just to kind of review, some studies or whatnot?
Yeah, you can go to lifetime.life. And you can search any supplement that you want. You can shop our supplements through Lifetime's website. You can look at the research behind our supplements and why Brahma Karate, our owner, CEO of Lifetime, why he created his supplement line is honestly because he was kind of fed up with what was happening in the supplement industry and how cheaply and inexpensive things were coming out that people were getting their hands on. He was a little dissatisfied with that. So that's a lot of the backstory behind why Lifetime has a supplement line. But when in doubt, seek out a professional. So you can always communicate with us here at Lifetime. You don't have to be a member. You can download the digital app and see what we have available in the shop. You don't have to be a member to buy the products. But you can always reach out to Kirby or myself and ask any questions. That doesn't cost anything.
All right, Kristen and Kirby, we appreciate your time this morning on the Digital Desk. Very informative, and I know it helped a lot of people out there. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Andrew. Have a great day.
Okay, you do the same. Appreciate that.
I want to talk about a very important issue, seniors facing loneliness. And here's the thing, it is detrimental to their health, physically, mentally. It leads to all kinds of general well-being issues, but there are ways to overcome that loneliness, and volunteering may be the answer. Let's bring in a couple of women to talk more about this issue. I'm joined now by Atalia Sergi, AmeriCorps Senior Director, and Shelley Brosnan, a volunteer. Ladies, thank you for joining us. Let's begin first with Atalia. Good morning to you. Can you tell me how bad this issue is when it comes to seniors and loneliness? Good morning.
Good morning. The U.S. Surgeon General has released a report that shares with us that we are in the midst of a loneliness epidemic. And loneliness and isolation can have far-reaching impacts on a person's health and well-being. For older adults specifically, social isolation and loneliness can contribute to depression and anxiety. The report does have some good news in it. The biggest takeaway is the impact that social connections can make, and volunteering with like-minded other adults getting out into the community can really increase the social connections for older adults. And that can help improve mental, physical, and cognitive health.
Yeah, I totally see how this could happen. Of course, we talk a lot here at Action News 5 about how social connections are so critical for so many people, especially our seniors out there. Tell me more about how volunteering can really help bridge the gap, I guess you could say.
Yeah, so AmeriCorps is the federal agency for national service and volunteerism. And AmeriCorps seniors, we focus on adults that are 55 years of age and older, engaging them in service, helping them to make those connections through our 3 signature programs. We have the RSVP program, the Foster Grandparent program, and the Senior Companion program. And so it really helps them to get out in the community, to make connections, to find purpose, and those connections become really important. So Shelley, who is here with me today, has been an RSVP volunteer since 2016, and she really values those connections that she has made through her volunteerism.
Yeah, Shelley, over to you. I'd like to just kind of dive in a little bit to what was just said. I mean, volunteering from your perspective, because I understand you're a volunteer, what have you seen?
I think it makes a big difference. It makes a big difference in my life. It's very important for me, but I also feel that I know that I'm giving back to my community in a very purposeful way. I'm helping seniors that might not be able to get to medical appointments or get groceries, have a chance to be able to do that. They maybe don't have family around, or they're not driving anymore. They can now get to those appointments and get to the grocery store because of volunteers who are out there helping them. And it's a real, I think volunteering it's kind of a win-win situation, because it does as much for me, for my life, as it does for the person that I'm helping. And there's so many ways to give back. You can commit as much time as you would like to volunteering. I do about 10 hours a week, and I still have time to travel, read, exercise, visit with my family and friends, and I've made a lot of friends. So it's widened my social circle through volunteering. I've made friends, and we get together outside of volunteering, but we also see each other at volunteer events. So we build up each other's lives also, along with helping our community.
That's fantastic. I appreciate you sharing with us. I agree, volunteering can do wonders for both the person who volunteers and the organization or the people who benefit. I just wanted to ask, Atalia, back over to you. Tell me how AmeriCorps is involved. I mean, we have thousands of people that watch us each and every morning here on the digital desk. If they see this and they want to help out through AmeriCorps, for example, what's the best method to do that?
So we have our three signature programs. RSVP, as Shelley has shared, has flexible scheduling, a variety of things you can do. The Foster Grandparent Program connects volunteers with children and youth to help support them with their academic development. And then our Senior Companion Program provides volunteers the opportunity to give a helping hand to other older adults and those with disabilities, and to support caregivers. So in your area, we have a foster grandparent program, and they support children to develop their literacy skills. They help children who are struggling with their social emotional development. And they also are working alongside early childhood educators. So we have a pilot program where older adults are working in those early childhood centers and have the opportunity, if they want, to become an early childhood assistant. So there are many opportunities. And if you want to learn more, go to AmeriCorps.gov/yourmoment. It'll take you to our website. You can find volunteer opportunities. You can find a little bit more about each of the programs I mentioned.
Okay, Atalia Surgery and Shelley Brosnan, we really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you so much for letting us know about this issue that is currently facing our seniors out there and ways to overcome it. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. There's some new data that's been issued by MetLife and the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. It finds small businesses are keen to experiments with AI tools, and using AI could give them a competitive edge. This is according to some of the key findings of Q2 here. Let's bring in a couple of people to talk about this new data. I am joined right now by Jordan Crenshaw. He's the Senior VP of U.S. Chamber of Commerce Technology Engagement Center, and Karen Rafferty, Head of Regional Business Sales with MetLife. Good morning to you both. So, Karen, let me start with you here. Tell me what this data tells you.
Absolutely. We have been partnering with the U.S. Chamber on the Small Business Index since 2017. And it's a snapshot into our small business sector. It allows us to understand from small business owners what they're thinking about the economy, their biggest challenges, and how they feel about their businesses overall. Our most recent study showed the most optimism of our small business owners since 2020. And a lot of that excitement is driven by AI. We know in Tennessee that many of our small businesses are in the service industry. And our data shows that 52% of those small businesses will be looking for AI proficiencies in their future job postings.
Jordan, over to you. Tell me what you're seeing from your vantage point when it comes to small businesses and the technology and AI.
There's a huge opportunity for workers in Memphis as small businesses are embracing AI tools. 99% of companies are small businesses. And our latest Small Business Index survey results that we did along with MetLife revealed that 71% of small businesses believe that hiring workers with AI skills will save them time, and another 67% believe will help save them money. small businesses value AI proficiency, and AI is creating an environment where workers can learn new skills and then become more valuable in the job market. And I think it's interesting to note that 46% of small business owners in the South are actively planning AI training for their employees.
So let me ask you this, and let me stay with you, Jordan, for a minute here. If someone's watching this, and we have thousands of people that watch us each and every morning on the digital desk, and someone's watching and they say, yeah, I'll work with AI. I want to get that next job. Where can they go to, be proficient in AI tools that you're talking about?
Well, AI training is going to be crucial for helping small businesses grow in the future, and 65% of businesses believe that AI will change roles in the future economy. And it's so important that employees take up small business owners on their offer of AI training. I'm even aware of small business owners themselves too who have actually gotten training and use it rather effectively off the internet. But there are also more formal trainings available too. Community colleges and local chambers of commerce are offering upskilling courses as well. So there are ample opportunities for people to learn how to use this technology for their advantage. It's a tool that's really going to help bolster the workforce, particularly as we're dealing with a tight labor market.
So, Karen, I want to ask you, what are you seeing in terms of AI tools that people are gravitating to? And when I say people, I mean small businesses. I mean, we know about ChatGPT. Anything else out there?
Absolutely. I believe that small businesses are looking at ways that they can increase their productivity without having to, fully and compete against larger industries overall. And so our small business owners are really concentrated on how they integrate this with their employee base and really creating opportunities through their employees' professional growth and training in AI to deliver efficiencies, but a stronger customer experience.
So let me ask you this, Karen. I mean, in this new data that was issued by MetLife, was there anything specific, any kind of AI tool that the business community mentioned, or they, wanted these employees to learn more about?
We're seeing a large gravitation to increasing their marketing ability through AI, as well as just understanding their overall customer base.
Jordan, over to you. So give me the landscape in the next, 5-10 years. Are we going to see something where almost every small business or business out there is going to have some form or fashion of AI as part of the workforce?
In terms of how small businesses are going to adopt, if you were to say a small business is not going to adopt AI today, that would be like saying a small business doesn't plan to use the internet 20 years ago. It's going to be ubiquitous, and that's why it's so important that employees at small businesses and their owners become efficient so they can have that edge.
Okay, Jordan Crenshaw and Karen Rafferty, we appreciate your time on the Action News 5 digital desk. Thanks for the deep dive on the topic and keeping us informed on what's happening with small businesses and AI tools. Anything else you guys want to mention before we let you go? I leave it open to both of you.
Well, if you'd like to learn more, you can actually visit us at uschamber.com to dive more into the report.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Tuesday morning, which is still featuring a lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle. That's the big issue for you this morning. Some patches of fog as well. Kind of a drab, dreary day here across the Mid-South. But overall, again, not the worst thing in the world. All right, let's be honest with ourselves here. It could be worse. It could be absolutely stormy. We've had severe weather, all sorts of stuff. But just the clouds here this morning across much of the areas. A cold front comes sweeping through the area. Temperatures hovering in the 50s as we go through the course of the day, dropping off into the 40s. We'll kind of go back and forth between clouds and stars here tonight as our main cold front makes progress across the area late tonight, early tomorrow morning, of course, ushering in another blast of chilly air. So the frontal boundary here this morning, again, we've had a warm front that has lifted northward. It actually helped to facilitate some of this moisture lingering overhead. And for some folks, a little bit of cooler air, warmer air, getting to the low 60s in places like Oxford as well as Corinth early this morning. That will not be the case through the remainder of the day. The colder air is going to be working its way southward as we go through the course of the day. So the temperatures in those locations that were able to make their way to the 60s will drop into the 50s as we go through the course of the day. See the colder air blowing in here. On the western side of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe a little clearing before the afternoon is all said and done. From Memphis's perspective, you might be able to look westward at sunset, see a little bit of clearing. The next batch of clouds will come swinging through the area overnight tonight, clears it out, and then here's the cold air in place as we head towards your Wednesday. And it will be not as cold as what we saw late last week, but still cold nonetheless. You see the coldest of the air staying well to the north of us as high pressure begins to build in our direction, and that will take us into your Thursday. Of course, the colder air coming direct out of Canada, moving in our direction, but this will not be a long-term situation. This is kind of a fleeting cold snap that will push through the area as warmer air begins to build out to the west and starts building in our direction as we head towards the end of the week, and that will also facilitate some changes in the pattern as well. So some mist, some drizzle here today. Temperatures in the 50s, kind of hovering here throughout the day. Cool northerly breeze flowing through here. You'll need the jackets all day long. Tomorrow morning we'll start off around freezing up to about the upper 40s with sunshine. Mostly sunny skies to start off the day on Thursday, but clouds will start to sneak in here late in the day. We'll call it a high near 50 after morning start in the 20s early in the day. Now overall not looking terribly bad. Again, we're dry as we head towards Wednesday, Thursday, most of Friday as well, but the rain chances will begin to increase Friday night into Saturday. I think Saturday may trend towards a washout as we get moisture coming in, surging along with that milder air coming in from the west. So with the milder air turning in to moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico and an approaching system will help to facilitate at least a chance for some rain to move into the Mid-South as we head towards your Saturday night into your Sunday. But I think by Sunday we should be in a drier scenario that will play out for us as we get ready for some unsettled patterns that will take us into the majority of the forecast here in the next couple of days. Here's the 7-day forecast, and again we'll go for high temperatures in the 50s here today, and just kind of hovering there throughout the course of the day. 48 the high as we head towards your Wednesday, down to the 20s early on Thursday morning, and then trying to rebound back up through the 50s. There will be some better rain chances coming along with the opportunities for that next system coming down the pipeline Friday night into Saturday. And again, Saturday looks to be pretty wet. We should dry it out by Sunday. Monday, we'll add in another chance for rain and beyond this in the extended 10-day forecast. As you can see here on the screen, again, we'll probably also have some opportunities for cooler air, milder air to stick around in the extended range. Temperatures in the 50s for this time of the year is about where we should be. And I think that as we go throughout much of mid next week, we'll also have a couple of opportunities for showers to sneak back in here. Tuesday may be dry, but I think Wednesday and Thursday there will be some lingering opportunities for showers. And beyond Thursday of next week, the cooler air mass may make a presence known here. Of course, you can stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere with the 10-day forecast on actionnews5.com, the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app as well. You can also use the app to track any showers right there in the palm of your hand and the hourly forecast for your backyard.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. We are so in the midst of the holiday season, and with it comes a lot of decorations, a lot of festivities. You got to be safe out there. A lot of times we're so busy, safety is the last thing we are worried about. Let's bring in someone to help us be safe this holiday season. I'm joined right now by Patrick Brockway. He is with Regional One Health. He's a burn manager there. Patrick, good morning to you. Let's talk about some of the mistakes. Some of the most common mistakes that you see this time of year when it comes to safety this holiday season. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Andrew. Thank you so much for having me today. This is just and with the holiday season, and of course, we see a lot of burn injuries this time of year. Probably one of the big things I want to talk about is just Christmas tree safety. People don't really think about it, but when you purchase a live tree, you want to make sure that you remove that bottom 2 inches off of the tree. That way, when it goes into the stand, it has a little bit better water absorption so it doesn't dry out. So a dry tree can turn into a fire hazard. So after your tree is up, you want to make sure that you're watering that live tree as well. Also, too, you want to make sure that your tree is about 3 feet away from flammable sources. You want to make sure that it's not close to any type of fireplaces or radiators or anything like that. Now, for our people who like to use artificial trees, you want to make sure that your tree is actually labeled fire resistant when you use it. That brings us to Christmas lights as well. You have two types of Christmas lights that everybody likes to use. They're the indoor lights and the outdoor lights. As they say, you want to use indoor lights on the indoors and outdoor lights on the outside. The reason why is your outdoor lights are actually designed to stay out in the cold, and they actually generate a little bit more heat than your inside lights. This can become a fire hazard if you use outdoor lights in an inside area. Also, too, when you take a look at your lights, you want to make sure that they're not cracked, there's no broken sockets, there's no frayed wires. If they have any of those, you want to make sure you want to get rid of them. Also, too, when you go to string all these lights together, you want to follow the manufacturer's instructions and make sure that the number of light sets that you can chain together is safe. So take a look at the directions on the light strings and make sure that you're stringing the appropriate number of lights together. This brings us to the Christmas decorations too. So just be aware that your small decorations that you use on the tree and around the house can be choking hazards to pets and small children. So you want to make sure that you either keep those decorations that are real small up high or don't use them at all.
Okay, all right. You said a lot there, Patrick. And I would assume that when it comes to fires and burns and that sort of thing, the main culprits are often the live Christmas tree, the holiday decorations, lights, that sort of thing, candles. Is that what you would say is the number one thing coming in to the burn center, is this idea of the holiday decorations, primarily the lights, the tree, candles? Are those the main culprits?
Yes, sir. Those are probably some of the biggest things that we see this time of year. So I will talk a little bit about candle safety. Just be aware that whenever you use a candle, it's an open source of flame. So you want to make sure that you keep them out of reach of children. And also, too, the other big thing with a candle is you never want to leave a candle unattended. So also, too, you want to make sure that whatever you use to light your candles, such as your matches or your lighter, are up out of reach of children as well. That brings us into the next part. Everybody likes to turn on their furnace or have a fire in the fireplace when it gets cold as the season changes. So before you use your furnace or your fireplace, you want to make sure that you have it annually inspected every year. This is to make sure that nothing is blocked. There's nothing wrong with the flue. Also, too, just be aware that if you do have a fire in your fireplace, that is an open source of flame and it can cause a fire. You want to make sure that all of your equipment is up to regulations and up to snuff whenever you do actually have a fire in it. Improperly cleaned chimneys have been historically a major source of fire in this area. So.
Tell me about some of the tips you give when people are shopping for toys for children. You want people to consider a few things.
Oh, sure. So there's a couple of things to use when it comes to shopping for children, you want to make sure a good website to use or a good source of information is the U.S. Consumer Product Safety Commission. Their website actually has a lot of good specific tips. Just be aware that toys are age defined for safety, not for ability. So when you choose a toy, you want to make sure that it's for that child's age range. You want to choose toys for children less than 3 years under age that don't have the choking hazards. Also, for children that are more than 10 years of age, you want to make sure you're not getting a toy that needs to be plugged into an electrical outlet. Also, too, you want to make sure that you use caution when you purchase toys that have batteries and or magnets, because these things come out and children can swallow them and they can cause all kinds of serious issues. Also, too, you want to make sure that you are giving your child the appropriate safety equipment whenever you buy a toy as well. So, bicycles, you want to make sure that you have a bike helmet. Same thing with a skateboard. You want to make sure that you have a helmet and the pads. So just make sure that you're getting the appropriate safety equipment with the toy whenever you purchase them as well.
What should people consider if they are decorating their home with holiday plants?
So just be aware, holiday plants, the live ones, some of them are poisonous. So you want to make sure that you keep those out of reach of children and pets, especially like your mistletoe and your holly berries. Those things can be especially poisonous. I always tell people it's better to go with the plastic. That way you don't have somebody getting into something that they shouldn't be.
And when it comes to that road trip that many families will be taking this holiday season, there's always some precautions there, right?
Oh, yes. So whenever you're traveling during the holiday season, one, you want to make sure that if you're going to be the driver, that you get an appropriate amount of rest before you start driving. You don't want to get behind the wheel while you're drowsy. Also, too, because it is the cold season, you want to make sure that you have an emergency packet in there, and also bring a blanket. So if it just comes into the point where you need to park and sleep and turn the vehicle off, you want to make sure that you have a blanket and can stay warm in that area. Also, too, one of the things that I always tell people is you want to make sure that everybody that is in your vehicle has an appropriate seatbelt and that it is appropriately fastened every time that you ride in the vehicle. Also, too, it's a holiday season, it's holiday parties. Everybody likes to go and enjoy the adult beverages. If you do, make sure that you have a designated sober driver that can get you back and forth where you need to go.
Oh, yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. And, you know, when it comes to space heaters, we all know that space heaters need space. Anything else you want to mention to our folks?
Sure. So space heaters are just one of those things that is a great thing to have inside during the cold season. Just be aware that there's a few precautions with them. You want to use them 3 feet away from flammable items. So keep them away from curtains, towels, that type of thing. Also, too, whenever you do use a space heater, you want to make sure that it is plugged into a wall outlet. You don't want to plug it into an extension cord. The reason why, if you plug it into an extension cord, the cord can actually become overloaded and become a fire hazard as well. Also, too, just be aware that other than the electrical heaters, you don't want to use a fuel-based heater inside your home. The reason why is it can cause carbon monoxide poisoning as the fuel is burned to keep things warm.
Patrick Brockway with Regional One Health. We really appreciate you coming on the Action News 5 digital desk. Thanks so much for valuable information this holiday season. We appreciate it. Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. While gaming can be fun, social, sometimes educational as well, it can also be challenging for many parents out there. They're constantly wondering what type of content their kids are accessing, who their kids are mentioning and messaging, and if they're spending too much time online. Roblox is an online gaming platform with, on average, nearly 80 million people are there each and every day. They're rolling out some improved features to give parents more control when it comes to safety and security. I am joined right now by Nikki Jackson Colasso. She is VP of Global Health and Public Policy at Roblox. Nikki, good morning to you. So let's talk a little bit first off on how popular online gaming is, because I know we're speaking to a lot of parents out there. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, you nailed it. And if you ask my two children, they would say that online gaming is, central to their lives. But every day, tens of millions of people are coming to Roblox to play games, to learn, to create with their friends. And, we talk about gaming, but it really is broader than that. They are designing their own fashion lines. They are flying to Mars in a spaceship or learning how to run their own pizza parlors. So they're learning valuable skills, they are learning about STEM, and they are expressing themselves. So there are a lot of really positive benefits of this whole world.
So let's talk about some of the improved safety features that Roblox is launching.
We want to be the safest place on the internet when it comes to safety. And the tools that we're rolling out today really are about giving parents control and clarity over their children's Roblox experience. Things like the ability to remotely manage their children's account from their own device, more visibility into their friends list, setting screen time limits, which I know as a parent is something that I appreciate. Content maturity labels, which help parents understand the content of different experiences on Roblox so they can decide which experiences are most developmentally appropriate for their own children. And importantly, chat restrictions so that our youngest users will never be able to chat one-on-one outside of a game on Roblox. And again, it really is about giving parents control and clarity.
Let me ask you this. Can we talk about maybe some tips, some 3 to 5 bullet points that parents can use to really just kind of monitor their online gaming for their kids?
Yeah, this is a great question. And it's something as a parent that really resonates with me because I think as parents, we want to keep our kids safe. That's what we do, throughout their lives. But the pace of technology is really fast. And it can be really daunting to have to keep up with all of these apps and services across the web and memorize tools on each of them. And so I really think it comes down to a few key things. One is to talk to your children about online safety, just like you would about safety in any element of their lives, like crossing the street or how to be kind to others. Play with them if you can. It sounds funny, but sitting with your child for a few minutes and getting a sense of how they're spending their time, making sure that you feel comfortable with it is an easy way to take part in this area of their lives. And then lastly, if you have time on Roblox, for example, link to your child's Roblox account so that you can manage their settings. But even if you can't take that step, we want parents to have the peace of mind knowing that a lot of these tools and settings are baked into the Roblox experience so that even if they can't, engage with these settings every day, it's still safe as we can make it built in.
Excellent, excellent. So you mentioned a number of different things there. Is there a place online where we can kind of see for ourselves, all those parents out there can look and see all these different changes and some of the safety security measures?
Absolutely. Parents can head to roblox.com/family center for not only information about these tools, but great information from our partners and safety advocates about staying safe online.
Okay, Nikki Jackson Colasso, we appreciate your time and thanks for diving in and helping us understand the different security and safety measures and including that update that you mentioned. It's very interesting and we appreciate the info and knowledge. Thanks.
Thanks so much.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Tuesday morning, which is still featuring a lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle. That's the big issue for you this morning. Some patches of fog as well. Kind of drab, dreary day. Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 Digital Desk here on a Tuesday morning, which is still featuring a lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle. That's the big issue for you this morning. Some patches of fog as well. Kind of a drab, dreary day here across the Mid-South. But overall, again, not the worst thing in the world. All right, let's be honest with ourselves here. It could be worse. It could be absolutely stormy. We've had severe weather, all sorts of stuff. But just the clouds here this morning across much of the areas. A cold front comes sweeping through the area. Temperatures hovering in the 50s as we go through the course of the day, dropping off into the 40s. We'll kind of go back and forth between clouds and stars here tonight as our main cold front makes progress across the area late tonight, early tomorrow morning, of course, ushering in another blast of chilly air. So the frontal boundary here this morning, again, we've had a warm front that has lifted northward. It actually helped to facilitate some of this moisture lingering overhead. And for some folks, a little bit of cooler air, warmer air, getting to the low 60s in places like Oxford as well as Corinth early this morning. That will not be the case through the remainder of the day. The colder air is going to be working its way southward as we go through the course of the day. So the temperatures in those locations that were able to make their way to the 60s will drop into the 50s as we go through the course of the day. See the colder air blowing in here. On the western side of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe a little clearing before the afternoon is all said and done. From Memphis's perspective, you might be able to look westward at sunset, see a little bit of clearing. The next batch of clouds will come swinging through the area overnight tonight, clears it out, and then here's the cold air in place as we head towards your Wednesday. And it will be not as cold as what we saw late last week, but still cold nonetheless. You see the coldest of the air staying well to the north of us as high pressure begins to build in our direction, and that will take us into your Thursday. Of course, the colder air coming direct out of Canada, moving in our direction, but this will not be a long-term situation. This is kind of a fleeting cold snap that will push through the area as warmer air begins to build out to the west and starts building in our direction as we head towards the end of the week, and that will also facilitate some changes in the pattern as well. So some mist, some drizzle here today. Temperatures in the 50s, kind of hovering here throughout the day. Cool northerly breeze flowing through here. You'll need the jackets all day long. Tomorrow morning we'll start off around freezing up to about the upper 40s with sunshine. Mostly sunny skies to start off the day on Thursday, but clouds will start to sneak in here late in the day. We'll call it a high near 50 after morning start in the 20s early in the day. Now overall not looking terribly bad. Again, we're dry as we head towards Wednesday, Thursday, most of Friday as well, but the rain chances will begin to increase Friday night into Saturday. I think Saturday may trend towards a washout as we get moisture coming in, surging along with that milder air coming in from the west. So with the milder air turning in to moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico and an approaching system will help to facilitate at least a chance for some rain to move into the Mid-South as we head towards your Saturday night into your Sunday. But I think by Sunday we should be in a drier scenario that will play out for us as we get ready for some unsettled patterns that will take us into the majority of the forecast here in the next couple of days. Here's the 7-day forecast, and again we'll go for high temperatures in the 50s here today, and just kind of hovering there throughout the course of the day. 48 the high as we head towards your Wednesday, down to the 20s early on Thursday morning, and then trying to rebound back up through the 50s. There will be some better rain chances coming along with the opportunities for that next system coming down the pipeline Friday night into Saturday. And again, Saturday looks to be pretty wet. We should dry it out by Sunday. Monday we'll add in another chance for rain, and beyond this in the extended 10-day forecast, as you can see here on the screen. Again, we'll probably also have some opportunities for cooler air, milder air to stick around in the extended range. Temperatures in the 50s for this time of the year is about where we should be. And I think that as we go throughout much of mid next week, we'll also have a couple of opportunities for showers to sneak back in here. Tuesday may be dry, but I think Wednesday and Thursday there will be some lingering opportunities for showers. And beyond Thursday of next week, the cooler air mass may make a presence known here. Of course, you can stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere with the 10-day forecast on actionnews5.com, the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app as well. You can also use the app to track any showers right there in the palm of your hand and the hourly forecast for your backyard.
Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. Social media has so many benefits for all of us, and for teenagers, helping them learn new skills, create friendships and support systems, that can be great, but it can also be, as we all know, very challenging to navigate, to keep kids safe online, especially teenagers. I'm joined right now on the Action News 5 Digital Desk by Dr. Whitney Caceres. She is a pediatrician, and she regularly talks to teens and parents about these issues. Dr. Caceres, thanks for joining us. Let's talk a little bit about maybe the top 3 concerns of parents when it comes to kids and teens using social media. Good morning.
Good morning. Yes, parents are concerned about who their teens are talking with, what type of content they're seeing, and if their time is well spent. And Instagram's teen accounts address all 3 of these top concerns for parents, which is really important to me as a clinician who hears these concerns day in and day out.
I bet you do. And so that is certainly an issue. Now, I know that Instagram and a lot of these social media platforms, every so often, maybe 6 months to 12 months, they do kind of a refresh, and they have kind of a way to protect kids and teens with their refresh. So what is Instagram teen accounts? What are they doing to protect teenagers out there?
Yeah, so I see this as much more than a refresh, actually, from Instagram. Instagram's teen accounts are a new experience for teens entirely that is guided by parents, and it's designed with built-in protections really to limit who they're able to interact with, the type of content they can see, but also to provide new opportunities to explore their interests. Instagram has already placed tens of millions of teens into teen accounts automatically. And for teens under 16 years old, they need their parents' permission to make any of the settings in teen accounts less restrictive. I see this as a valuable tool for parents in my clinical setting because it will make those conversations a lot more thorough and will help parents to reinforce the restrictions that they have already at home or are attempting to have in their family.
So give us some examples of the kind of supervision that you recommend when it comes to parents and teenagers and social media.
Absolutely. Well, one of my favorite built-in protections in Instagram's teen accounts is actually the private account setting. So this means that teens have to accept any new followers and that only their followers are able to interact with them or to see their content. There's also a sensitive content control. So teens are placed in the strictest settings for Instagram's sensitive content control, meaning that they can't see age inappropriate content in places like Reels or Explore pages. And then nighttime sleep is enabled. So between the hours of 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., notifications are silenced. Direct messages have an auto reply. This is going to really improve digital well-being and again, make those conversations and those regulations that parents want to have in their home a lot easier to enforce.
Okay, and what else can we talk about right now, Whitney? I mean, you know, there's so many, it's such a vast space out there, the online social media networks and teenagers going out there almost like a blue ocean. What else comes up often when you talk with parents?
A lot of parents talk about how they want to have individual control of their supervision of their teens. And so with Instagram teen accounts, there are built-in protections, but some parents want to be even more involved with their experience online with social media. And so Instagram has actually updated their parental control feature. Parents are going to be able to do things that they ask me about and want all the time, like having insights into who their teens are chatting with. While parents can't see individual messages, they can see who their teens have contacted and been contacted by in the past 7 days. They can set total daily limits, which is something that's very important to the parents that I see. They can make it so that sleep time is completely disabled on the app for their teens. And I think exciting as well in terms of creating bonds with their teens, they can have insights into the age-appropriate topics that their teens are looking at. And so this gives parents more control and makes it much more individualized.
It sounds great. These all sound very good. Is there a place online where parents can look and kind of see the different changes and the different supervising tools for their teens?
Absolutely. To learn more, parents can go to instagram.com/teenaccounts.
Okay, anything else when it comes to, I know we talked a lot about Instagram. Is there anywhere else that you send parents when it comes to social media and teens?
Well, I think that globally, parents really want a place where their teens are going to be safe on the internet. No one wants an internet that's unsafe for teens. And parents also globally want it to be that on social media, that their teens are able to connect with their friends and that they're able to explore those different interests that they have. The American Academy of Pediatrics is a wonderful place to look up digital well-being, but also Instagram has an entire resource center for parents to talk about developing this well-being, and they've partnered with a lot of different leading organizations on it. In my experience, having ongoing open conversations about social media safety is one of the key factors in terms of helping teens to be more reasonable with their social media use and also to make safer choices. So that's always my #1 suggestion with parents, is to keep those lines of communication open and to access resources that will help them to do it.
Great ideas, great tips, and great ways to protect teens online. Dr. Whitney Caceres, we really appreciate your time on the Digital Desk. Thanks so very much for spelling it out in an easy and concise way for all those parents out there. We appreciate it.
It's my pleasure.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. There are more cancer survivors today than ever before, and their needs begin from the date of diagnosis throughout their lifespan. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society hears firsthand every day from patients, from family members, caregivers, volunteers affected by blood cancer with their concerns and questions about a diagnosis, treatment, and much, much more. But I want to talk about how they are not alone. None of them are. Joining me now is Tricia Hernandez. She is Director of Community Engagement with the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. Good morning, Tricia. Thank you for being here. Let's talk about some of the support and resources that are so valuable for everyone that has been diagnosed with leukemia and lymphoma, including those caregivers and the family members. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks so much for the opportunity to be here during Blood Cancer Awareness Month. From my own experience, when I was first diagnosed, I went where most of us go to look for information about something we don't know. I went to the internet, and I was completely overwhelmed and received a lot of information about statistics, and I really left that experience with a lot of fear and concern about what was next for me. And what I've learned through LLS and working with patients and caregivers every day is having a reliable, valid source of information for disease, treatment, and ongoing survivorship is really key. And LLS can provide that to patients and caregivers. And I think what patients leave with when they have that kind of information and support is more hope and less fear than I experienced.
Tell me about some of the most common challenges that people experience when they have leukemia and lymphoma.
I think initially it's really just not sure about what's going to happen next and not having information about the disease. It can sometimes come as a surprise, the diagnosis to patients and caregivers, and they're not sure what that means and how it's going to be handled and how to talk to their healthcare team about it. And LLS has education information that helps people better understand their disease and their treatment options, and even information about how to talk to their healthcare team, family members, and friends about it, as well as education information for healthcare teams to talk to their patients about it. And that first piece of really better understanding what's going on with you helps you manage it more effectively and really be less fearful about the unknown. But after that, it's practical concerns. How am I financially going to manage this? Am I going to be able to continue going to work and school? How am I going to take care of my family? Will they need to take care of me? Am I going to be a burden on them? And even longer term, how am I going to deal with this for the rest of my life? Is it going to affect me for the rest of my life? Am I going to have manage side effects forever with this? And if I have a chronic blood cancer, how will I manage going in and out of treatment for the rest of my life and what that means? And LLS really has looked at understanding the full experience that blood cancer patients and caregivers go through and provides resources for all of those things I just mentioned.
So, Tricia, we have thousands of people that watch us each and every morning here on the Action News 5 digital desk. If someone is hearing about this and perhaps they have a family member or a friend that's been diagnosed with leukemia or lymphoma, where should they begin?
They can begin with a simple phone call to an information specialist that will connect them to all the resources I've mentioned and more at 1-800-955-4572. And everything I've talked about is also available at lls.org.
And what would be your message? You're a blood cancer survivor yourself. You are a part of the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. What would be your initial comments to them?
I would say make sure that you are taking care of yourself and getting regular checkups and blood work done. If something feels wrong, go to your doctor and talk to them about it and be very confident in leaving that, knowing what's going on with you. And then if it does ultimately end up that you have a blood cancer diagnosis, your first stop can be the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, and one of our information specialists is glad to support you in better understanding your diagnosis and treatment options and really helping you connect to support services for everything from understanding your disease, connecting with someone who's a peer who may have been through that already, and into survivorship and managing the rest of your life as a blood cancer survivor.
Tricia Hernandez, we appreciate you coming on the digital desk. Thank you for an important discussion that needed to be had with regards to this issue, leukemia, lymphoma, the support, and what people need to do if they're diagnosed. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Action News 5 digital desk. I'm Andrew Douglas, and living with eczema. If you have it or perhaps you have a family member that does, it can be so difficult and so very frustrating for those caught in that relentless cycle of chasing flares and the redness and the itchiness and the rashes that occur. And they can occur anywhere all over the body. The good news is there is a brand new once daily steroid-free cream that can really help manage and help control eczema so you can enjoy your summer and all throughout the year, all the months throughout the year. Let's bring in a board-certified dermatologist to talk about this new once daily cream. I'm joined now by Dr. Adam Friedman. He is on the digital desk. And Doctor, thank you for joining us. Let's talk about this issue and not only the issue of eczema, living with it and some of the difficulties, but this new breakthrough. Good morning.
Good morning. No, thanks so much for having me here. And you teed it up perfectly. This is one of the most common chronic relapsing inflammatory skin diseases that also commonly imparts a horrific impact on quality of life and also skin. And to your point that it can occur anywhere on the body and the spectrum of clinical presentations is so diverse, making the right diagnosis can be a challenge. And so for me, one of the helpful clues when trying to distinguish this from other things, the itch of atopic dermatitis really stands out as an itch that feels amazing to scratch, but not so amazing because that scratching will actually make the condition worse, but also add a level of ostracism because people will say, well, just don't scratch, you'll get better. And that's absolutely not true. And that actually adds to the burden of disease by saying something like that. So that's why I've partnered with Arcutis to really raise awareness about the condition, but also to your point, talk about new options that can really get this under control.
Okay, so let's talk about that, Doctor, because we know that the summer months, that's kind of when a lot of people that live with eczema, those that condition tends to flare up, doesn't it?
It can, so the physical heat, which we've had plenty of, the sweating that ensues, but also products we use to protect ourselves from the sun and from bugs. All of those can uniquely worsen active disease or even wake it up to begin with. But this is a year-round problem. Different elements, different environmental factors can trigger this. So patients are worrying about the next flare even during a flare, which absolutely sounds horrible. That's a really horrible way to live in terms of foreseeing when this is even going to get worse. And the summer can certainly do that.
So let's talk about ways that people can care for their skin if they have eczema throughout the year, whether it's winter, summer, spring, fall, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so there's some basic rules that apply year-round for everyone. First is limit soap use and make sure you're using a soap that is meant for someone with eczema. It actually will say it on the bottle. More importantly, apply a moisturizer to damp skin, to trap water into the skin, as dry skin is a central piece of this condition, and your skin needs a little bit of water in there for it to make itself correctly. Now, these are great, but often don't cut it. And that's where FDA-approved medications, whether it be topical or even systemic, meaning they work from the inside out, can be extraordinarily impactful. And the most recent one that was just approved is called Zoryve or Roflumilast, 0.15% cream that is indicated for once-a-day use for mild to moderate eczema for those 6 and up. And remember, this affects so many ages. It's important to have options that can be used across that spectrum.
Where can people go to learn more information about this new medication, maybe some of the side effects? Are there any, by the way, and where can they go?
Yeah, so first off, easy answer. You can go to Zoryve, ZORYVE.com for more information about the medication and atopic dermatitis. In terms of safety, overall, very well tolerated. The most common side effects included headache, nausea, and site application pain. But this only occurred in roughly a few % of those studied. And we're talking about a study over 1,000 people in number. So when you have a study that size, it gives you a lot of confidence about the data with respect to how a drug will behave in individuals suffering with this condition.
Anything else, Dr. Friedman, you'd like to mention with regards to living with eczema, how to take care of your skin, this new medication? Anything else?
Yeah, I think this is the era of eczema. Just 10, 15 years ago, we had very limited options, and now there's so much attention being paid to this condition. Also, it's important to note that someone suffering eczema is not on their own island. This condition can affect the entire family because of its impact on sleep, school, job, you name it. So getting it under control and maintaining that control is of the utmost importance for everyone.
Okay, Dr. Adam Friedman, board-certified dermatologist, we appreciate your time. Thank you for illuminating us to some of the new treatments for eczema and best practices. We appreciate it. Back to the Action News 5 Digital Desk. I'm Andrew Douglas. I want to talk a little bit about food expiration dates. They can be really confusing when you think about it. I mean, you see best by, used by, sell by, all these different things. So what do all of them mean, and when should we not buy those, and when it's perhaps okay to buy it? I'm joined right now by our friend on the Action News 5 Digital Desk, Quinay Johnson. She's a clinical dietitian at Regional One Health, and she's back with us. Quinay, nice to see you again. Let's talk about this issue. Does it come up often in your practice?
It does not come up often because I do acute care, so people are really worried about the trauma experiences that they're going through now. But in passing with family and friends, this conversation is brought up.
I bet. So is there a certain rule, or maybe there's several rules that, like guidelines, just to follow when it comes to looking at the label, specifically expiration dates? Let's hear it.
Yes, so I did a little research before we had our conversation today, and food labeling can be confusing because there is no standard language for it, and it's up to the facilities or the companies that produce products to be transparent and put use by dates on them. But in terms of laws, there's only one law that encompasses the regulation of use by dates, and that's specifically catered towards infant formula. Everything else is up to discretion.
Okay, so off the top, I was talking about best by dates, use by dates, sell by dates. What's the difference here? I kind of get like best by and sell by. Maybe that's the same thing, but is there a way to just kind of decode it all?
So Best Buy and sell by, they are used all three of them actually are used interchangeably, used by, sell by, and Best Buy. Sell by is usually used by the distributor, so your local grocery store, they use sell by to make sure that they're keeping things on stock while it's at peak. So usually the people that are doing inventory and stock for the product on the shelf, once they see that sell by has passed, they're supposed to remove it off the shelf. Or sometimes they'll give you a discount because it's still technically safe to eat, but it's not at its peak. Sell by, I just went over sell by. Use by and Best Buy. Use by is usually the date that's most correlative with if it's best to eat or not. And again, going back to infant formula, when it has use by, you should not use. Infant formula past its use by date because it's backed by law, but everything else is basically used to determine if it's at its best quality. So you could still buy the product and it may be safe, but the best bet that you can, the best rule that you can abide by is if it smells good, looks good, and tastes good. If something doesn't look right, I say discretion by not picking that item up.
Okay, all right. Yes, it's so confusing. I mean, just hearing your response, it's like, okay, I got to write it down exactly which one is which. What about canned goods? I know that sometimes canned goods, have that expiration date, but a lot of times canned goods look the same either before or after that expiration date. How should we decipher that?
Yes, senses are your best friend. Taste, smell, sight, appearance, and texture. So with canned goods, of course, it's in a can, so you can't really taste it before you take it off the shelf. But things to look for with canned goods are any damage to the casing, or if it looks like it's been expanded. If you see those things, I would caution to not pick it off the shelf. And with the dates that are on the can, it is again in relation to its best quality. So if it has a date on the can that's past due, usually canned goods are still safe months to years after the expiration date.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And I thing you need to know when it comes to expiration labels, just overreaching, regardless, no matter what we're talking about? You got to remember this one rule. What would you say it is?
Excuse me, we're having some technical difficulties. I cannot hear.
How about now? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear now.
Okay, good. I was just saying, if there was a far-reaching overall rule, like the golden rule when it comes to expiration labels on food, is there one label or is there one rule that just it trumps everything else?
So that one rule is the use by date. And again, that's only with infant formula. If the use by date on infant formula is passed, do not use it because babies are one of the immunocompromised of our population. And there's a list of people who qualify as immunocompromised or people that have impaired immune systems. When it comes to dates, they're not as reliable. The biggest thing that you can use are your senses. So your sight, your smell, your taste, and I believe there's one other sense that you can use. Yes, sight, smell, taste, or feel. So if you have the ability to use those senses to your advantage, use them because they usually never lead you astray.
Yeah, no question. One final thing. I've heard this before. Just want to double check with you. If you have like over-the-counter medication like Tylenol, Advil, that sort of thing, if it's past expiration, that just means it's a lower strength and it's okay to have, right?
That is not my specialty, but I can agree with you that usually once it hits that date that you see on the case, then it is a lower strength than what it was before.
That's right. You're a dietitian. You're not, I got you. I got you. Out of the realm. Anything else? Final thoughts before we let you go, Quine?
Yes. So the FDA is one of the websites that provides a lot of information in regards to food safety. And one of the most confusing thing about these terms are that they can be used interchangeably and that there's no law to basically regulate how people talk about these topics. So when you're concerned about expiration dates, the term that's used is food product dating, and food labeling is actually used for nutrition facts labels. And they're very close because they're in the same realm, but it can get confusing really fast. So if you want to do further research, the FDA is a great resource, and specifically the USDA of the FDA, which is the U.S. Department of Agriculture, has information. And if you want to get even more specific, the Food Safety and Inspection Services, which is FSIS, that is the entity that handles all those topics.
She is clinical dietitian with Regional One Health, Quine Johnson, joining us on the digital desk once again. Quine, appreciate the info. Thank you so much for spelling it out for us and really just kind of letting us know how confusing it can be and where to go to get the right information. We appreciate your time.
Thank you. You all have a great day.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us here on the Action News 5 digital desk here on a Tuesday morning, which is still featuring a lot of clouds, some mist, some drizzle. That's the big issue for you this morning. Some patches of fog as well. Kind of a drab, dreary day here across the Mid-South, but overall, again, not the worst thing in the world. All right, let's be honest with ourselves here. It could be worse. It could be absolutely stormy. We've had severe weather, all sorts of stuff, but just the clouds here this morning across much of the areas. A cold front comes sweeping through the area. Temperatures hovering in the 50s as we go through the course of the day, dropping off into the 40s. We'll kind of go back and forth between clouds and stars here tonight as our main cold front makes progress across the area late tonight, early tomorrow morning, of course, ushering in another blast of chilly air. So the frontal boundary here this morning, again, we've had a warm front that has lifted northward. It actually helped to facilitate some of this moisture lingering overhead. And for some folks, a little bit of cooler air, warmer air, getting to the low 60s in places like Oxford as well as Corinth early this morning. That will not be the case through the remainder of the day. The colder air is going to be working its way southward as we go go through the course of the day. So the temperatures in those locations that were able to make their way to the 60s will drop into the 50s as we go through the course of the day. See the colder air blowing in here. On the western side of the Action News 5 coverage area, maybe a little clearing before the afternoon is all said and done. From Memphis's perspective, you might be able to look westward at sunset, see a little bit of clearing. The next batch of clouds will come swinging through the area overnight tonight, clears it out, and then here's the cold air in place as we head towards your Wednesday. And it will be not as cold as what we saw late last week, but still cold nonetheless. You see the coldest of the air staying well to the north of us as high pressure begins to build in our direction, and that will take us into your Thursday. Of course, the colder air coming direct out of Canada, moving in our direction, but this will not be a long-term situation. This is kind of a fleeting cold snap that will push through the area as warmer air begins to build out to the west and starts building in our direction as we head towards the end of the week, and that will also facilitate some changes in the pattern as well. So some mist, some drizzle here today. Temperatures in the 50s, kind of hovering here throughout the day. Cool northerly breeze flowing through here. You'll need the jackets all day long. Tomorrow morning we'll start off around freezing up to about the upper 40s with sunshine. Mostly sunny skies to start off the day on Thursday, but clouds will start to sneak in here late in the day. We'll call it a high near 50 after morning start in the 20s early in the day. Now overall not looking terribly bad. Again, we're dry as we head towards Wednesday, Thursday, most of Friday as well, but the rain chances will begin to increase Friday night into Saturday. I think Saturday may trend towards a washout as we get moisture coming in, surging along with that milder air coming in from the west. So with the milder air turning in to moisture coming in off the Gulf of Mexico and an approaching system will help to facilitate at least a chance for some rain to move into the Mid-South as we head towards your Saturday night into your Sunday. But I think by Sunday we should be in a drier scenario that will play out for us as we get ready for some unsettled patterns that will take us into the majority of the forecast here in the next couple of days. Here's the 7-day forecast, and again we'll go for high temperatures in the 50s here today, and just kind of hovering there throughout the course of the day. 48 the high as we head towards your Wednesday, down to the 20s early on Thursday morning, and then trying to rebound back up through the 50s. There will be some better rain chances coming along with the opportunities for that next system coming down the pipeline Friday night into Saturday. And again, Saturday looks to be pretty wet. We should dry it out by Sunday. Monday we'll add in another chance for rain, and beyond this in the extended 10-day forecast, as you can see here on the screen. Again, we'll probably also have some opportunities for cooler air, milder air to stick around in the extended range. Temperatures in the 50s for this time of the year is about where we should be. And I think that as we go throughout much of mid next week, we'll also have a couple of opportunities for showers to sneak back in here. Tuesday may be dry, but I think Wednesday and Thursday there will be some lingering opportunities for showers. And beyond Thursday of next week, the cooler air mass may make a presence known here. Of course, you can stay up to date with the very latest anytime and everywhere with the 10-day forecast on actionnews5.com, the Action News 5 First Alert Weather app as well. You can also use the app to track any showers right there in the palm of your hand and the hourly forecast for your backyard.
All right, that does it for us here in the Action News 5 digital desk. We got Action News 5 midday coming up at the top of the hour with Jerry Askin and Ariana Poindexter. They'll take you through the next hour with the top stories, including your forecast for the next 24, 48, 72 hours and beyond. And don't forget to watch us once again bright and early tomorrow morning beginning at 7 o'clock. That's when we crank up the digital desk. We go from 7 until 11 each and every weekday morning. It is our streaming channel on actionnews5.com. You can also find us on our free news app and all of our digital platforms like Amazon Fire, Apple TV, YouTube, and Roku. And if you just want to watch us on TV, you can do that as well. Channel 5.3 or channel 907 on Xfinity. Have a wonderful afternoon.